Good morning, good morning. I see the people are slowly waking up here. Slowly waking up. Getting in, 27 minutes to open. No big deal, just rolling out of bed. No worries. Some of you are tired. Some of you are like, hey man, it's Monday. Listen, go to work. Okay. Let me tell you a little something, guys. Futures were about break even. Now I see a lot of red, but you know what's not red? You know what's not red in futures this morning? The Dow. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, the nightly news. Wait until the people find out tonight, Monday afternoon, Monday evening, that the nightly news, on the nightly news, that the Dow was up today when the rest of the market was down. But they'll never hear about the rest of the market. They'll never know. All they know is the Dow Jones is doing well, which means all of you should be doing well. Because if you knew, or if you've been here, we've been doing this little thing called a value play. Some of you are going, hey man, when's this thing gonna stop? Some of you are like, ooh, this is kind of cool. When does this thing stop? A lot of you are price watching. There's a couple tickers we need to talk about this morning. A couple tickers. Now we get some new additions to the S&P. Now we're not gonna go too windbreakery. Let's just talk about them because you guys are wondering. We got Penn getting out of the S&P. No idea. No clue. All I know is that we took this trade last Friday. Pushed the trade. Now, this trade's up about 37% on the underlying. A few 100% on the options. It's now opening up another 7% higher. Might be another 100%. Really, who could have saw that one coming? The tough one right there. Now, those of you know, my pen target is 200 by this summer. That was called out last summer. Way back in here. Called for pen 200. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Now the other one. Some of you have not been a part of this trade. The Caesar trade. What is that? The hell is that thing? Never looked at that chart in my life. Well, there it is. We reached the target last week. It's up. Some of these are not up that much, but again, you need to remember the timeline on being added to the S&P, the way it works with being added to, first of all, you got to get added to every single ETF. You got to buy all of these ETFs need to go buy and add it to their benchmark. Excuse me. So remember, it's going to take some time. Whatever. What else is going on pre-market? Travel is just booming still. So for instance, AAL up another almost 4.5%, just pulled back a tiny bit here at the start. This is continuing. And again, I just want to continue to say, hey, why haven't you been a part of the travel trade? What was the reason why you didn't buy? Why didn't you buy on this pullback over here, which generational buy opportunity, right, for you memers? Why are you doing a generational buy opportunity on some fucking stupid SPAC that's never going to be an actual company that you know is going to go back to $10 before it becomes its actual symbol? Who knows? If you took advantage of this buy, again, where we bought everything 2 Fridays ago on the 5th, then you'd be pretty well off right now. Again, holding into this Monday. Why? Because we like to push a little risk over the weekend. What did we do? We pushed just about everything over the weekend. There were some situations where on Thursday into Friday, we transitioned to get a better exponential for the weekend, take advantage of some risk. The point still stands. Where were you? What were you doing? All you had to do was place a trade. We talked about Friday. Friday was a great green day for a week that was already quite green, right? We were doing extremely well on the value side. Everything. All of travel. What about X? What about X last week from last Friday? Again, this March 5th date is very important. Why? Because it was the start that momentum finally got going on the value play. We had been trading value for months, right? Really got swinging into it a few weeks ago, and then just last week, from the Friday prior into Monday the 8th of last Monday, momentum started on the value side. You finally got headlines. You got fucking every memer in the chat, retail finally converting, and this is what you started to see was a momentum based price movement that you did not get before. And the question that we had for the play was, when was it going to start? And is it going to? Because the big problem was when you make some of these bets, when I make a bet like this on the Dow, right? And I'm trading things like UDow, using leverage, going into options and doing risky plays, going even into March contracts. Again, I'm going to talk about the game of squeeze for March in a second, but doing that is risky. It's risky if you're not right. Well, it's a good thing we were fucking right. Or would we have been okay either way? Yeah, we would have been okay. We would have been okay. Sometimes your timing's not going to line up. Why? Because it's really hard to be directional. To use this method, you have to be directional all the time. It's not always that easy. You know, I say stay in your lane. Last week, we had a Tuesday that the NASDAQ went up 4%. We had to figure that shit out. You know what we figured out? No one knew what was going on. Nobody knew. Nobody actually has any clue what they were doing last week on Tuesday. So what did we do? We stayed in our lane. I said on Tuesday, stay in your lane. Just stay in your lane. Just keep doing what we're doing. Here's what the NASDAQ looks like. Here's what it looks like here. Comparatively, right? You can see the difference. You can see the difference between what we've been doing and what's trying to happen. That's not going to happen over there. It's not. Why? Because inflation didn't just go away. Bonds didn't just all of a sudden disappear. A $21 trillion market didn't just disappear. What's going on? Yields have stayed higher. The 10-year has stayed over 1.6, which was basically the benchmark, or really that spot where everyone said, okay, if the 10-year yield is below 1.6, okay, you get back into tech. There's no such thing as inflation. Again, it's a reinflation trade. That's what it is. That's all it is. It's the idea of reinflation, open the economy up. Fucking Uncle Joe is out here getting people vaccinated. The economy is going to open back up, which means that, again, as those yields increase and as reinflation comes on, there's a lot of different things that are going to happen. The dollar gets a little bit more expensive, right? Dollar gets a little bit more expensive, goes towards the upside, even though we're printing $120 billion a month from the Fed, still happening, still getting liquidity. Dollar gets more expensive. Economy's opening up. The cost of capital is increasing. So, again, we're discounting future growth now, which means what? That growth is not exactly growth anymore. It's not as good. Right now, the growth is happening in the moment, which is value. Value is the constant. Growth is the one that continues to grow into the future. It's a little hard to grow into the future when you're basically robbing. You're literally going Robin Hood from the future for the now, which is exactly the growth rotation into value. It's still continuing. I promise you right now, it's still continuing. Those of you that keep going, well, I can't go much further. You're out of your fucking mind. You don't even know what you're talking about to begin with. So just shut it. Okay, there's a couple other tickers. The few things that happened pre-market. We don't need to get like all, windbreaker on it. SJR is up 57% from pre-market. We did bring this up last week from this break over here. We don't need to go like, oh wow, it's up 57%. That's weird. Sure, yeah, it's a little strange. Whatever. Healthcare is seeing a lot of different moves. We talked about last week. We've continued to push our big healthcare companies. Those things like Anthem. I posted a new Anthem chart to give us a better understanding of price movement going forward. We did get a new breakout from there, so we'll take a look at the Anthem chart. But I've talked about the difference between those large healthcare providers and then the shorter term trades that we go into bios, therapeutics, pharmaceuticals, this sort of newer age of healthcare. So there's a lot of those that are going off at the start, things like ALT that we've traded a lot before, right? So we're going to keep these ideas in mind this week, continuing to try to take advantage of some short-term ideas. So healthcare is going to be a little bit on the menu for this week on the short term. Otherwise, we have a lot of things like QFIN, that big trade from last week, taking this trade from the open on Tuesday. Again, taking this trade, all you had to do was just take the trade. Last week was all about just making a trade. I talk about a lot to you guys. All you got to do is make the trade. It's not the hardest part, again, is finding the ticker to trade. It's not the trading part. All you have to do is hit one of two buttons. There's literally only two buttons to hit, right? QFIN was up 43% last week. It's now up another 6%. It's not going to break the high. We're going to go take that trade again. You're going to go take that trade again. Why? Because it's not the gift that just keeps on giving. It literally is the gift. So trade it, right? Trade it. Now, going forward this week, some of you are like, hey man, I didn't take any of these trades. You need to be smart. You don't get to go, hey, listen, I slept through all of last week. I had no money in my account. McKeezus is going to use this excuse because he just said he's back and deposited funds. McKeezus, and those of you who did not trade last week, you do not get to go buy over here and go, well, see, I'm chasing my momentum, baby. I'm a momentum trader. I finally can confirm that this is tradable. Some of you do the thing. I'm not saying anyone specific. Some of you do wait for price to get to a point where you say, okay, if it reaches $21 by the end of close, then I'll be a buyer. After it's already gone up like 10%. You can't do that. You need to be buying and preempting that move. So if you think price is going to move to a certain price, then just fucking buy it. Just buy it already. There's no such, again, all you're doing is losing out. If you, like, let's say on X over here, we all bought this on the Friday before because we trade this thing on Friday. If on Tuesday you're like, well, you know what? Once it breaks this trend line at 22, then I'll be a buyer. So you wait for it to go 10%, and then it breaks 22, and then you buy it, and then no, it doesn't make any sense. There's so many examples of this, and I think AAL is one of those ones that none of you wanted to go take this trade because of the consolidation that happened up here, all the supply in here, and so you didn't take this trade, you didn't take these trades, you waited until maybe Friday for it to break at like, I don't know, 22.75 or something with this high. That's just bad. That's bad. And I know you're trying to do it to follow the rules a little bit, but if you're expecting the move to happen and everything with price tells you that it's going to the upside, you got to just take that trade. Because the longer you wait, the less of a good price you're going to get and the more fucked you're going to get on the other side. Because as soon as something happens, what if price, as soon as you bought it, started to pull back, you'd get stopped out and then you'd miss the whole trade because you'd never re-enter it, right? It's very muddy waters to try to wait for something to come to you when you need to make them come to you instead. You should be waiting for them. They shouldn't be sitting there waiting for you. Because again, we buy usually when there's some sort of fear, but we're trying to buy early because we want to be selling to everyone else once they realize. We sell to everyone else. So again, as soon as that momentum gets going, that's when we're picking our spot for when we can start to sell to everyone else because we need to get filled too. We need to get filled on the sell side. We don't get to pick the top. We don't get to pick the peak. It's never going to be perfect. But we try to chase perfection and we try to get it at the point where, okay, right before it starts to consolidate, we're going to take profit. And we use levels and everything else, right? What's happening with travel? We're coming up to the retracement level. So this week, again, it's very possible we get there, considering that the more rotation's happening. So something like AAL is about 17% away from that resistance, right? Remember, we've gone about 100%. We've traded these from about minus 100%, now up another 100%. So we're very close. Remember what happens. When you get up here, it's a whole new game up here because now you've retraced and now all of a sudden your value trade, it's no longer about retracing and recollecting value that you once had. It's now turning into, holy shit, we've got momentum. We're becoming the biggest sort of, it's like the elephant in the room that now is fucking obvious. And so now everyone wants to be a part of it. So remember what happens when things become momentum. They start to move violently both ways. The thing that needs to be mentioned that we literally cannot do anything without talking about is the fact that this week, all of the March monthlies expire. On the 19th, all of the most contracts ever will expire. Technically, the Saturday after, right? What's been happening in the market? Everything is getting squeezed. It's a gamma squeeze across the entire market. There's things like just GME, for example. All of the meme stocks. All of the meme stocks are getting squeezed into that date because of the gamma on the options, right? Everything in the market's getting squeezed. It doesn't matter what it is. Anything that has high volume of options and has a significant amount out there is getting squeezed on the underlying. It's just the reality. We can see it. We can see why there's things like the NASDAQ doing 4% in a day, even when there's tickers that are barely moving. Have you seen the Apple chart? Have you seen the Apple chart? Yeah, it's literally fucking disgusting, right? What do you mean 4% on the NASDAQ, right? What do you mean 4%? What are you talking about? Are you saying that everyone's going to go buy everyone's buying tech? No one actually is. Everyone's buying the options though. Why? Who knows? I have no idea. It's just what we do. Everyone just buys options. Again, everyone's just buying contracts. And the fact is that they're still out there. So everyone that's buying calls all the way down here, they're buying March monthlies on the whole trip down. Do you know what happens? As the price of the options gets cheaper, right? The more that is bought. So all of us, so calls are expensive, right? And then all of a sudden, those same calls are getting halved and halved and halved. They're worth basically nothing. They're very cheap. But you know what doesn't change? The exposure. The exposure to those calls doesn't change. And so when you get a day where there's a lot of movement to the upside, all of a sudden you have acceleration again. You got to go hedge against those. So there's a lot of examples out there where there's just a significant amount of contracts being bought because of how cheap they are. Remember what happens as soon as that movement starts again, they have to be hedged. So the delta neutral aspect, as those contracts increase in delta, the amount of deltas that you need to be buying on the underlying increases. And again, we're going to see violent moves both ways again this week. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens with sort of the meme stocks. Again, some of this, you don't really know. You don't get to decide. Here's a good example of this move into all of this. Is this going to happen this week? It certainly could. History, you can use the history repeats itself. I don't think that's technically what's going to happen. But again, as everything squeezes into Friday, what the fuck happens on Monday? What's going to happen on Monday when all those contracts are gone? They don't exist anymore. No one's exercising them. We know there's an option, but they've had the option to exercise them the whole time. No one's exercising them. No one's going to go buy GME shares, right? No one would do that. So again, you need to remember that this week, everything you see is not everything you're going to get, right? The only thing that we can see and that we're getting is value, because it's the only thing that doesn't get affected. Why? Because we've already witnessed it. You know what happened when the NASDAQ went up 4%? Nothing. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, and there's a reason, because these things are not connected. I talked about it a few months ago. It's actually the point where we sold everything on that Monday was a point where I started to get a little bit worried over here. End of January, I got a little worried that the market was disconnected. This idea over here, when I sold before this week started to sell down, and really right before the whipsaw here, all of these violent moves, again, were from gamma squeezes. And so you're getting this instant selling of all the underlying and then instant buying of the underlying, whipsawing us, and then selling off the whole week. This is when the market started to get disconnected. Everything from this point has been disconnected. Nothing is really well connected at all. Everything being dictated by options, but everyone's just deciding, making up their own story, basically, right? What was the story we made? We made the nightly news play story. Went with the Dow 34,000. Made my own fucking story. Traded my own way. We stayed in our lane. There's a lot of different things you could do. You could just be shorting tech. We kind of double dipped and shorted tech at the same time. This week, again, continue to stay in your lane. Continue to use the trades that work. When I point out tickers, things, something like the QFIN trade, or when I've been talking about travel, or when I talk about energy and banks, these things that, again, if you don't want to trade the trend where you're not going to lose money. You can just keep trading a trend. If this is not your speed, you don't want to make 100% over a few weeks, or you just don't like to make fucking money, then that's fine. But then you can't then go and say, well, as soon as one of these trades pop up, again, first of all, it's just silly that you're not trading this, but and then as soon as the sort of travel trades pop up where you get this discount to go buy, and you don't take that opportunity. Look at the death boats. Holy shit! You're telling me that CCL's up over almost 2.5% this morning. Again, what are you doing, right? I'm talking to the market. What are you doing? It's overreaction, not understanding, because no one, if you don't have some sort of, if you haven't conceptualized what's going on and you're just finally figuring out what's going on, then you're making really sort of rash decisions, and then you're trying to follow the market. So you were following the market before, and then now you're trying to follow what happened last week. There's nothing to follow. There's no leader to follow. There's not. No one really wants to go. No one's going to go follow the nightly news play. Is that the fucking leader? Is the Dow Jones the leader? Is mom and pops, grandmas around the world watching the nightly news? Is that really going to be the play? No. Doesn't make sense. No one's going to do that. First of all, it's not a sexy trade. And so again, the meme stocks, things like Penn, DraftKings, pot stocks, you guys are in CGC. What are you guys doing this morning? Let's see. You guys voted. You're going to take profit. Fucking morons in chat. Oh, well. All right. Getting out of them, boys. Let me get it out. Let me hold the April, sell the Marches. Gotcha. Anyway, I'm just kidding. But again, you don't have to make a miracle happen this week. Aerospace and defense. How much have I been talking about this sector? We're up again this open. Again this open. We're open. Opening higher. Trading towards the upside. Momentum. Things like BA became a trade. It's up 2% pre-market. What are you doing? I know we have 5 minutes, but how many months been talking about this? Right on the spot, mentioned it. These charts came out on the 19th. I know I didn't post a BA chart because I posted 50 other ones. A trade like BA that goes from a dog to being tradable. Do you know what that's called? There's not even a name for it. Where something is just a dog and you buy it before everyone else. And then as soon as it becomes sexy, this momentum starts and you get your payday. You could have taken profit on Friday and no one's going to be mad at you because you just made a few 100%. Again, some of these contracts, we're talking about, there's some that are like over 1,000%, 2,000%. In this realm on the value side because of how it never moves, right? So again, this week, the motto should be just make a trade. Just hit the button. SPR, when we took this break here, just keep pushing it. Buy more. Keep pushing. Travel, energy, banks, REITs, anything tied to government spending on the industrial side, steel, the super cycling commodities. These things we've been talking about. You just got to place a trade. This week, just place a trade. Place a trade. I don't care what it's done. Doesn't matter. How about retail stores? Hey, man, you're listing off so many things. Yeah, so you should be able to fucking do something, right? There should be something, right? There is. Now, a lot of you did very well last week. So, build off of that. Those of you that see your peers doing well, learn from that. A lot of you realize that the only thing you did wrong was basically buy at the wrong time, or you sold and then never got in. You never got back in. You never placed the trade, right? You just never placed the trade. Some of you know what you should do? You should say, screw it. You buy and then your fucking shit's going down. Just stick with it. Whatever. Place the trade and just go with it. Because some of you buy and then it goes up the next day and you go, whoa, holy, I just never bought back in. That's like such a dumb excuse, but if that's like something holding you back, then just screw it. You make a trade, do not make a trade. It's life or death. Have every trade be life or death. If you make that trade, you stick with it. That's it. Just do that. If you need to set rules like that, then just do it. Right. All right. Let me get your account set up. Are you guys sure? I'm gonna ask one last time. Are you sure? You're sure you want to get out of this? See, now you guys are changing your vote. Okay, you guys. I still see yes. I'm gonna put the trade in. I'm putting the trade in. I'm putting the trade in. Close position. Yep. 37 contracts. Yep. Hit them out. They won out. Submit. Done. When that opens up. Oh, now it's no. See, you guys have no fucking clue. You guys have no. Oh boy. Here we go. See, but they're Marches, guys. They literally expire on Friday. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna hold them until Friday? There's a reason why we have this emoji. This little emoji right here. There's a reason. Okay, now it's no. Okay, I'm going to pause the trade. I'll pause it. I'll leave it in there. Pause it. Whenever it's ready, we'll unpause it. Yep. See who switched. I see who switched. I can see who switched. How'd you do with the win? I broke even. One of my best results ever. I'm terrible at tournaments. I'm good at cash games. Broke even on the tournament. I'm a cash game kind of guy. Tournament is just like, I don't like to be on a schedule. Let me do my own thing. Put you guys on the spy. Oh boy, are we taking profit in the open? Oh boy. Excuse me. There's a lot of things that are going to go unmentioned today, but holy shit, you guys are opening $900 higher on Marches? Wow, who could have saw that coming? Oh boy. Imagine. Oh god. Sometimes, guys, sometimes. Now it's going to go to 0, right? I don't think a lot of you understand what. See, this is why I say just place a trade, because I know you just don't know. Just place the trade and go with it. Some of you just begging. Hey man, can you tell me when to place the trade? What to buy? Holy rotation. Is that the nightly news I see up there? Whew. Hey, you guys are up $1,000 on the Marches and $300 on the Aprils. Good job, guys. You guys made me $1,500 in 5 minutes. Or, I mean, 1 minute. Thank you. Oh, God. Okay. All memes aside. The reason why I'm giving a little bit of a mellow sort of attitude is not because I was on vacation this weekend, but because we got to stay just sort of mellow, chill, because I think a lot of times we come into Monday and just like what you guys wanted to do, you want to take profit immediately. That's because you're sort of accustomed to the progression of things, and you think, okay, Green Day on Friday. We were pretty bullish all week last week, so we can't just keep going, right? There's no way. It's not gonna happen. Sure, that's fine. Yeah, but let's just watch first. Let's not make decisions before we see the price, right? Yep. F. GoPro. Imagine, guys, how much did we talk about this trade last week? Imagine just not doing anything. Imagine a person, a random guy on a stream that you listen to every fucking day that tells you to go buy at $8. GoPro trendline comes in at 1340. For those of you there, a lot of different ways to play that. Reminder, a lot of different ways. Watching pen, travel, very much continue. All of the travel trades looking very good. Again, what's nice about a lot of these sectors is that all the sector converges together. You don't need to be correct on the ticker you choose. You just need to be in the general vicinity. So whether you took airlines, whether you took cruise ships, there's a lot of different things you could have done, right? Casinos. And holy shit, would you see they're performing still, right? Ecto brings up GE. Again, aerospace and defense, we see the sector absolutely just popping off still, right? GE, what happened? We get hit by some news. What do we do? Well, we got to get out of the position. Got to get out of it. We made a significant amount so far. Again, there's some contracts that are up over 2,000% up here. Some of them way more than that. It's fucking strange, yeah. What we do, we bought on the pullback down here. Coming into supply right now. We'll see how it reacts in there. But again, aerospace and defense just killing it right now. Killing it. AMC coming into this trend line here. 1260. What is this? 1268. Again, gamma squeezed out of our mind. Squeezed out of our mind. Retail stores and anything retail based. Even movie theaters in a very similar vein of that. Take advantage of it. Take advantage of the retail. It's not even their fault, right? DBX interacting with the trend line. We'll see how that does this week. Again, we've had a big trade so far. Again, things like Discovery. What's going on in the Viacom trade? Oh, Jesus. Can we stop with this story already, huh? Am I right? Hey guys, can we just cut this shit out? Can we just no more, please? You know? JJR mentions Facebook. Can you imagine what is whatever's happening over there? Obviously not nothing to do with the options. Absolutely not. Definitely nothing there. No options activity at all. Nothing to mention on volatility. That's why I bring it up. Spot VIX doing nothing. Dollar basically in the same spot. We do get to hear from Powell again on Wednesday. I mean, we just fucking heard from him. Gonna confirm the same thing. Okay. Again, yeah. Some of you are going, oh man, wish I just bought something. Yep. The triple BY. One of the better squeeze with AMC as well. CCJ, let's see. This comes in at 1885. Those of you that are trying to catch new plays. Again, Anthem comes into resistance up here. There's a lot of different things that are happening. Again, here's the other chart from over here. We bought right in this vicinity, traded it up. This is a I mean, again, there's a shit ton of points here, guys. Ton of points. This next move gonna be big. REITs continuing. Again, they're turning into momentum trades. A lot of trades are still on the table here from what I posted from Friday's charts. And the next trend line comes in 168. 168. Shack trend line 133.25. Plot stocks continuing. GRWG. Again, we bought all of these back on the Friday before, on the 5th, March 5th. Why? They all had support. All of them. DGC not moving as well. A little bit more retail. Yeah, all travel's going. Value. All value. All value. What's going on here? All right, let's take a look at some. Let's look at the EV side. Ford continue to interact with the trend line over here. Again, everything is it's very supply driven over there. Very supply driven over there. If we look at across the spectrum, right? It's exactly why we stayed in our lane. If you look over here, what's happening? Consolidation, which is what we expected. Everything got hit by this trend line. Everything got hit by the trend line. And it's still sticking with that trend. Everything's consolidating, which is exactly what needs to happen on for healthy price movement, right? It's this sort of nothing moving. It's just trading sideways that keeps us from being in a trade. Why? Because we need movement. We need movement. So you can see Tesla's not moving. GM, big day on Friday. So historical take profit, it looks like there. But again, this EV side not really moving, not really seeing much. We'll see how that continues. Again, there is this idea that is tied into growth, right? It's tied into a bit of growth. Tied into it a bit. Makita says, anything on sale? Yeah, where were you last week? Or the year before? GE through 13. Oh boy. Some of you are going to go, here you go, McKeesus. Where were you on last week? GE was down. What about travel? Travel pulled back a ridiculous amount. Ridiculous amount. Imagine selling down here and buying up here. Insane. Talked about last week. People do this, they oversell, and then they're the same buyers that are up here chasing because they're momentum traders. To the downside, they momentum trade, and to the upside. They wait for momentum to get going before they sell, and they wait for momentum to get going before they buy. Unbelievable stuff. Smart people, too. Don't need to be smart to make money, though, do you? Okay, I'm waiting for those votes to go to the yes column on CGC marches. You guys were up about 2,000 at one point. You guys are now up 200. Okay, what time is it? 9:42, 12 minutes in. 12 minutes in, we're seeing growth sell some more. We're going to be watching is the money going into the dollar. So again, here's the start. Here's the start. The S&P. What's that look like? Looks like a little bit of an opposite of what we usually see for the price to go to the upside. S&P has trend lines. Growth has a trend line. Likely see some support come in there. What's going on this side? Same story. Same story. Everything working about the same. Again, what do we look for? We look for 5-minute candles. You look for movement, tightening, and then movement to show direction. Again, wide spreads on the small caps, showing a lot of activity, still showing rotation. So what we are watching again is the dollar's coming down, which means there's not money being converted to cash, right? What a silly chart discovery is, right? Silly chart. Viacom, silly chart. Viacom had some contracts are up 4,500%. I saw them. They're in the vicinity. GoPro came up. Gonna be watching that one. That's a difficult decision. No, there's no wrong decision. No one else knows what they're doing either. Casinos keep looking good. Travel keeps looking good. Aerospace and defense keeps looking good. Let me bring you over to our benchmarks. Energy. And take profit. 1%. Oof. Big loss right there. Watching it though. Why? Because it matters. It matters. Trend will stay intact, but the short terms matter. Short terms matter. And I mean it in the sense of buying, right? In the sense of buying. To give some sort of direction. We're at 33,000 on the Dow Jones. The high today, which puts us at 34,000 by Wednesday. By basically Wednesday. That's insane. Insane. Staying in my lane. Still watching. And we're not doing anything. Not doing anything yet. No one's doing anything. You don't get to do anything. Here's your pot stocks. Here's GRWG. Certainly the better play so far. Everything from Friday again. Those of you that also have those from Friday, you're sitting on a gold mine. That's for sure. An oil well. Sitting on an oil well. You bought those on that pullback over here. Oh, buddy. Because if we get back up to that high, yikes. That's some deep fucking value right there. They sold to us. They sold to us. What are they doing? DGC's still stuck under supply. Fine. Again, the squeeze is here. It's in. What do? You don't just scalp nonstop. You don't just make a bunch of damn trades. You just let it be. Let it go. You have no clue where the price is going. I don't know. The market doesn't know. Market makers just keep buying. They keep selling. No one knows. You have no idea. It's Monday. 20 minutes in. Even for the market itself. Market doesn't even know. LC continues from last week. Again, turning into quite a ridiculous trade now. Some would call it silly. You don't get to decide, right? Keep pushing it. Once the price starts to reverse, obviously now you need to make a question. Yeah, you need to make decisions. Start to question things. What if it never even gives any sense? You just keep pushing. The only reason why you should ever sell, first of all, you should only get out of a position if you get stopped out. The only time you sell is when you make the decision to. You say, okay, listen, I'm going to fuck this up. I got to get out. That's fine. That's fine. It's when price is starting to reverse and you go, okay, Fed had a daily candle, pulled back a couple percent here. Maybe from open if it keeps selling. You know, as long as you make some sort of argument, price needs to convince you. Get out a GoPro. Should you? Up to you. The win, obviously, didn't spend enough money. Retail stores. We keep letting it run, boys. Let it run. Let it run. Imagine not buying Nike down here on the 5th as well. Oof. Retail stores. Not much to say today. We keep it going. That's what we say. Keep it going. Only 9% on AAL. It's okay. It's all right. Fine. Yeah. Only 100%? Fine. Hot stocks are going. I'm gonna watch that. Be watching that carefully. CCL, this trend line still matters. It's across the whole market. Comes in about 30.5. It's gonna be important. It's gonna be important. We'll see. We already might be interacting. GE. We'll see what happens when we get up to the next level here. Again, this is converging back with the rest of the sector, so it's not so much that if this starts to go to the upside that the whole sector will start to move to the upside more. It's more that this is catching back up to the sector. So keep that in mind, and that might also remove demand from the rest. So keep this idea in mind with the aerospace and defense sector. Travel is not so much like that. The converging doesn't really take points away from the others. They're not really, the sizing is not really there for it to be affected on a dollar amount or something like that. Bring you over to the average. Buy Doji on the day. Doji on the day. Nasdaq getting some points. Trying to catch up. Still about 10% away from the all-time. The Dow still up 20 basis points. So take profit from a big Friday. Small caps, similar story. It's the only index that's actually down today. Why? Well, had quite the week. Pushed into all-time highs last week. Had quite the week. Had quite the time. Wow, that went up. That went up almost 13% in 1 week. Wow. Wonder where you were. Wonder. Costa Nostra account bought down here, right? I don't know where they got out over here somewhere. Or something. I can't fucking remember. Let me update you guys on your account. Told you I would do that more often. Just takes me a moment, that's all. Takes me a second. Nip it. Nip it. Here you go. Here's an update. Update on the Cosa Nostra account. Coming in hot. There you go. There you go. Up 1,600 on the day. That's overall about 3,500 since Friday. Which is about 50%. Yeah, semis are trying. Semis are trying because growth is getting a little bit of action. Again, we took those semi trades, UMC and TSM. Took those. Now we didn't really get anything from open, which, I mean, it is growth to be expected. Try to make it happen. We'll keep pushing it, see if we can get it going. Maybe things like Nvidia will be better because of the volatility. Again, it needs to break some levels. This is an example of a chart that you need it to reach a price to make the trade. Now, obviously, I was a little critical this morning talking about you can't let something, you can't wait for it to get there. We have no clue what is happening on the tech side, the growth side. Semiconductors were a little hotter on because there's a lot of good technical reasons to take the break because of the move that will come after. Still though, what are we gonna do, right? What are we gonna do? We can't force it. Certainly keeping an eye on it though. But again, there's so much. Some of you that have a limited amount of capital, some of you want to go back and trade your tickers that I don't know. Apparently you have a connection while you're still ignoring the value play in front of you. So, or the best play in front of you, whether you give it a fucking name or not, right? You gotta just you just gotta trade what's working. Trade what's working. What people are doing, right? What people are actually doing. Trades that they're actually making. Or what they're going to do in the future. Fake Neo, run it, says Brian. D-Trader says OSTK on 74.5 is a buy. Okay. GE, I'm specifically watching this for a reason, so let's let's watch the people in chat and continue to go, oh, is there anything I can buy that's cheap? Hey man, just woke up. Any cheap tickers out there? Get out of here. Go read Benjamin Graham. Tesla's pretty cheap. There you go. Yeah, go buy Tesla. Ryan says, who? Benjamin Graham, value investing. From the 50s. Look, Nasdaq's going. Buy. Come on, go buy Facebook. Buy Facebook. Just go trade the meme stocks. Just don't look at P&L. Literally, just don't look at P&L. You just gotta go buy it and say screw it. Okay. How are the boys doing? They're getting a little tight. We might be at the that spot. All right, there goes our Bed Bath & Beyond finally. Again, I like this chart in AMC the most out of the meme stocks. They're a little bit easier to play. They have better upside direction. They don't get squeezed immediately and then come back down immediately. A little bit more trendy. It's been trading with the supply a lot better, so good understanding. Good understanding. Using those two, the triple BY and AMC as the meme stock supply. Been trading them consistently. It's not even close. It's literally not even close. And don't forget the better fundamentals, says Ecto. Absolutely. Absolutely. We're not really seeing much action from the new S&P additions. Not seeing much action. To be expected movement so far. Still waiting for any change there. We're not going to trade things for hype, right? So, again, travel keeps going. What's going on? It's coming up to the level. So, like I just told you earlier, there's the level. Good job. Good job, trader. Good job, trader. Somebody going, yep. Sure. G getting up there. I'm just fucking waiting because I want to see what the reaction is at that level. That's the level. That's the point. That's the spot. That's literally the spot. So we'll see how much supply there is to work through there. Otherwise, see you later, señorita. Another la casa. Imagine. Could you imagine? All right. Let's see. What am I looking for? Skechers. Getting the momentum now. What do you mean, Don? You posted a Skechers chart? What a loser. Skechers? That's right. That's right. You're goddamn right. You're goddamn right I did. Guy in the chat. Clean energy is going. Now, next level on Sun Power again. There's so many trend lines. This comes in at like 40, 80. you want to see this move happen quicker. This should fill up to their very. This should just do it today, right? It should just happen today. So again, in between these levels, should move instantly, and then we'll make decisions for the next move, right? Again, we bought all of these down here. March 5th, an important date. Why? Because we bought the whole market. We bought the whole market. So, an important date. If we're starting this hot on travel this week, like this is a hot. Everything's rotating here. Obviously, no volatility. Going to 0, of course. Let's see. The big boys are waiting. Big boys are waiting. Or they already bought. There's so much going into travel. It does look like we have rotation from the same players in energy and banks, which again is sort of the benchmark, the slower moving, going into the momentum based travel right now. Also, a little bit of the aerospace and defense because that is tied into that as well a little bit, not as much. Going into again, it looks like the same players because the way the money's lining up does make sense because that's what we do. We trade within our sectors and put the money in the place that's going to catch the most opportunity cost, right? You could have your money and travel over something else, then you're going to put it into travel, obviously. And also, you don't get to decide when, so you have to see the momentum starting to go, okay, well, that's where it is, so I'm going to add more to my position. We know the money was already there. You're getting the usual suspects, things like Discovery, Viacom. Again, you're getting, it's the same, you can tell it's just kind of the same, it's just adding more to the position. Adding more. And we're seeing it with, I mean, travel's getting the momentum train, and certainly getting fucking squeezed this week. Everything is getting squeezed this week, and you're getting squeezed on the other side as well, right? Towards the downside on some of the other trades as demand gets pulled from that sector to the other. Again, this whole value thing, no one's doing anything on the tech. I mean, there's literally nothing happening on this side. On this side, it's just getting squeezed from the contracts. Everyone just keeps buying contracts, right? But it's obviously not even close to being the same. Not even close. These are not even, it's not even close in terms of actual momentum, right? Actual momentum, people actually buying, want to be a part of such trade. Like, look at this shit. Imagine. 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 CWA is still hanging out with that trend line. 43.20. Did you see really stuck in the supply over here? Stuck in that supply. I'm guessing it would catch up to the rest, but interesting. All right, let's see. I know we didn't really mention Bitcoin. You guys talked about it over the weekend, though. We did hit 61,000. We did hit 61,000 on Bitcoin at one point. A little bit take profit came in. I haven't looked at my my coins yet, but you know, a little over 600% ago. So it's, yikes. Yikes. I'm going to do what you guys do. Wow, I really wish I put more behind that trade. I only put 10%. Oof. But let's look at the chart. As we're waiting for a little bit more action. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at the old Bitcoin chart. Here we are. Put on the 3-day. Here we are. Preposterous, huh? When do we get into that 100,000 mark? When can I take the 1,000%? A little over 1,000%. 1,000% on 10%. Ooh. Some of you are going, I hope it goes to like 90,000 and he never sells. That'd be a hoot. $92. Here it is. Here it is. JJR says 160,000. Yeah, fuck it. Let's wait for 1 million, right? 100,000 this year, 1 million in a few. I mean, price doesn't stop, right? Just because I'm gonna take some profit, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't stop, right? Doesn't stop. Like the value trade doesn't stop. Doesn't stop. This is an interesting move. We're break even on the Dow. We're momentumed out of our mind. Momentumed out of our mind on travel. A little bit too much. Again, the problem, you go put 10% on Monday. What do you do the rest of the week? You can have a take profit day, and then you're going to need to consolidate a little bit. I mean, I'm not complaining, you know. Oh, man. Only. I hate having to take. I hate having to take profit on a Monday. You just hate when you can only get 100% or 2 out of a Monday from the weekend. Oof. Hate that. It's a chill Monday so far, guys. There's really not much to try to break down, I guess, right? We're within the range of what we've talked about. Travel popping off, value continue. We're getting some rotation out of the slower value into the momentum, which again is exactly what momentum is. That's exactly what we want to see. Take profit to start on the average, which again makes sense for an average. Retail stores continue. Things like Discovery, Viacom, those trend charts continue. The individual tickers, clean energy, pot stocks, we all expected to be up today. Some of them being up more than others, like GRWG, which is a little bit more, you know, whatever you want to call it. It is traded by a higher level of trader, I would say. Is up. CGC is about break even, but towards the upside. Things like Penn, Caesar, getting out of the S&P, they were already going. Which maybe they were moving because they were going to get out of the S&P. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe that's why I said Penn was going to 200. You'll never know. You'll literally never know. That's the whole point. Looks good technically. Price was going up. That's it. Doesn't matter if there's fucking news or not, does there? Price trades well before. Why? Because everyone fucking knows well before. As soon as the thing happens, everyone sells, right? We were traded stimulus months and months before it happened. Speaking of which, you guys get your stimmy checks or what? Your Biden bucks? How many? Is that why McKeesus? Is that why you're? Don't tell me. Don't tell me you put your Biden bucks into the Robinhood account. By the way, Rad's coming to the trend line here, 25.70. This is gonna be a lot of fun. Why is it going to be a lot of fun? Because retail stores are out of their mind, and because we're in WBA over here, which comes up to about 54.5, and we got who wants WBA contracts? Because I need a buyer. I need a buyer. Who wants to see me drop the whole thing out? I'm gonna wait though. Gotta wait for the squeeze to get to its apex. Gotta wait for it. We have to learn. We must learn. The squeeze only, so again, the squeeze towards the downside, like the removal, it only goes if again those contracts start to come out and they're not going to be there. So again, the March monthlies again will go until the 19th if nothing happens. And it's even possible. I mean, it almost I don't really know. We're gonna have to find out, but it is possible that the expiration date hits and all of those contracts come off and price doesn't stop. It's entirely possible. It just depends on how many more contracts get bought for the next expiration. Because you got weeklies and then a whole nother month in April. So as long as there's more contracts that get bought than those contracts that come off from March, the March monthly date, then the price will continue. So that's like a whole new thing. Is that okay? Let's say 10,000 contracts expire on March monthly, but if there's more than 10,000 contracts on the 26th, let's say the April monthly date as well, then it's not going to change the underlying. So there's so many different situations. No, guys, I'm not going to tell you when I'm selling, and I'm not going to give you discounts. Fucking dumbass. You guys aren't going to see shit. You guys are going to have no clue. I mean, yeah, when the price is going down, I'm guessing you'll know. If there's more sellers than buyers, what happens to price? Anybody know? If there's more supply than demand, the question is whether the price is elastic or inelastic. And I told you to do that last week because this week you're going to have no clue. Some of you are going to be like, well, there's more sellers. Why is the price going up? T-Trader says 9 months here and I still don't get it. Supply and demand, what are those? Why doesn't the price of a McDonald's cheeseburger go up then? Huh? Checkmate. Some are you gonna go, but it has. Because it's rat food, says Matt. Maybe. I had some McDonald's this weekend. Nice brain food. McDonald's in Vegas, they'll say. That's right. I'm classy. That was at 4 in the morning though. Okay. Man, Viacom is up over 5.25% right now. You've got to be kidding me. Not again. Jeez. 12.69 this day. 10% this day. Fuck me. Oh my. Don't even give a fuck anymore, guys. I literally just don't care anymore. Too many things I can just show. Too many. How much of the WBA how much are we up on WBA? How do I even let's see. Hey guys, we're up over 1,000% on WBA. Congratulations. Where's Ecto? I thought you were supposed to be watching for me. You said 600% the last time. What are we on the memer price point? 1,000% on my screen. Is that the reality? Oh, looks like 1,000% to me. Some of you going, yeah, right. Okay. All right. Hmm. Here's a good problem for you guys to solve. Let's say, let's just say, right? You've got 5,000. Let's just say you have 5,000 contracts of March monthly 50s. How do you get out of that position? How do you take profit? You just go sell all of them at the same time? How do you get out of those by Friday? What do you do? Do you roll them? What do you, like? What do you can't. What am I gonna fucking exercise them? What do you do? Yeah, you guys can try to answer. I mean, I'm not gonna be like, yeah, that's the right answer, but you guys can throw out answers. Let's say you've got a shit ton of contracts and you're up over 1,000% on the average. How do you get out of that position by the end of the week? You know, what are you supposed to do? How do you actually profit from it? You can be up on paper, but how do you make that? How do you put that in the bank account? Is it possible? You know, what do you do? Where and what? You see that price is continuing to move. Yeah, you can try to sell a little bit each day, right? All the way up. But what if you want to, how do you min max that situation? We'll find out by the end of the week, won't we? Find out by Saturday. My average is 40 cents, by the way. Anyone wants to try to do the math. What are you looking for? Typical Monday. Typical Monday. Trip keeps going. Travel just does keep going. Keeps getting more and more inflow. Even if the price isn't going up, I do see continued inflow. PRTS cute down here is tightening. That whole sector as we know it, certainly some of the demand is going elsewhere right now. But yeah, as soon as those breaks happen, I mean, I do like this chart, so do like this chart. The it's not the greatest. It's not as good as over here. Not as good as over here because of this downtrend. Didn't really get this before. This move is elongated, lost a lot of tempo while losing value. It's not the same as, something like an instant pricing. Got no problem with that. get right back in there, right? This is a little bit more, so it does change up the dynamic. Been tightening for a week. We'll see. You get to see that break. This is unfortunately, you got to wait for the break and you got to see it, right? You got to actually see it. And again, there's just better trades. There's just better trades. Hot stocks are doing. I mean, this is a big amount, right? It's a big amount. I'd expect more today. So maybe we're waiting for retail to get their check still. But maybe this helps. It might be better that you get you don't get too far away today. They get the little Biden bucks or stimmy checks into their little accounts. I'm going to take a day to go put it into the brokerage. They probably don't have instant deposit. So maybe by Wednesday. That's pretty good. That would be pretty good because you get a little bit of a trend and then you get the break. Oof, kind of like that. I like it a little bit more than you just kind of gap up on a Monday, put a lot of points on a Monday maybe, and then you're done, right? Sort of like there's possibilities of travel, right? I'm already doing some mental gymnastics to try to figure out what's the best angle to take here because it's like you get this big of a gain today, just fucking take it home, right? There is a point where you just go, okay, I mean, let me just take some of this shit, right? For short-term trades, right? Short-term, it's like, well, why not? Why don't I just take it, right? Now, some of these are not, there's certainly some reasons to keep pushing, right? There's certainly. Depending on how you bought, where you bought. If you bought on if you bought over here, then you're sort of in the zone of, okay, I can take some of that home because you're up a few 100%, right? On AAL, you're not even up 100%. If you bought on Friday at close, let's say, you're not up 100%. If you bought it open, you're up over 100-something% for sure. I think you're over 150%, 200% from Friday open. Which, again, is when everyone started buying. So all you had to do is buy a little bit before the rest of them to get that 150, 200% where you are here today. If you bought at close, not 100%. If you bought over here, you're 300+% on April monthly, so I'm saying. So, I mean, it's not, well, okay, that's enough percent for me. No, I just mean in the sense of risk reward, how much more reward out of the risk that you're squeezing out. Again, it just comes down to timing. If you bought later, then you probably need a little bit more value out of it because you haven't really squeezed much out of it. If you bought right at open or the day before or any time last week or on the Friday before, you've now gained 300-something%. I mean, at that point, you're getting it in such a quick amount of time. You want to take that because of how the speed at which it happened. I talk about this a lot. It's the speed. It's not just that it put the value and the direction on. It's the speed at which it does it. That's a lot of points in a short amount of time. A lot of points in a short amount of time. Cupin, look at. Good thing we took it. It took it on this day. Took it on this fucking day. Pushed barely any over to Monday, right? We literally took it all. Why? Because it happened in such a quick amount of time. So we took it. We re-entered, pushed that re-entry trade from the open here. How's that? Take it home. And take the trade again. And take it again. The transition, it's again, you get to put the money back in your account, and make a new trade. And if the new trade doesn't work out, guess what? You've got all that money in the account, which is like 10 times as much as you're putting onto a new trade. So you're fucking happy. You don't need price to make you happy. Your bank account makes you happy. Healthcare bios we're using as our short terms this week. Trying to take advantage of a little bit of that squeeze, but on a little bit of a different side, right? Different angle. Retail stores keep going. Meme stocks are going. Everything that should be getting gamma squeezed is getting squeezed. We don't get to decide, so we're just gonna push those trades through the week, and at some point this week, everything's gonna crash and burn probably. So, so we'll use that moment as the okay. Let's get out of here. Again, retail stores continue. We're over our targets. When we reach a target on one of my charts, do we just sell it and say, "Oh, we reached the target. It's time to get out of here. Good job, Don. You got your 40%. Time to get the fuck out." Nope. Just a plan. It's just a plan. Just a plan. It's just a trend line from, again, the previous trend. Just the velocity of how the price moved before. Just a plan. You keep pushing. Our rules never change. We transition at trend lines. So we take profit at resistance. Look to re-enter. Buy support, sell resistance. The answer is always it depends. We push our winnings until you need to make a decision because you're going to fuck up the trade. That means you're not good at following rules, so you make decisions based on yourself before the rules. And then if you're following rules, then you're waiting for resistance or a reversal. So here's GPS. Again, we turn from a trend into momentum. Again, all the value trades turning into momentum. If you don't think this is momentum, then you're quite literally blind. Some of you might be like, "Well, I am blind. I've been blind my whole life." Maybe, and now you will see. LC, again, this kind of trade we don't get to decide, so we're not going to do anything until it sells. Like, yeah, you'll lose some points off the top, but you're never going to guess the top of price. So we'll wait to lose a few points to be sure, right? Again, unless there's a level that we can react to, guess what? There ain't no fucking level over here. So now it's not that many points on the contracts, right? Really not that many points on the contract. To be honest with you. Right? Relative, like in relative sense. Yes. Sure. It's, might be a lot to you. But I mean in the sense of the move. A few 100%. It's 10:37. It'll be an interesting lunch. Again, it's a Monday. It's Monday. Monday usually after a Green Friday takes profit, but we don't get to decide that until we see price. We can go in with a little bit of a bias. We take profit on our most risky moves from the open always anyway. We don't want to see more of the day, right? When we do those very specific Friday risk trades, not the ones that we're obviously going to keep pushing, but the trades that you put on specifically at Friday to take profit at Monday open, that's just 100% trade. Those have already come and gone, right? As soon as open happens, you take profit on those trades. The others, we don't get to decide. Price can pull back, can move up. We just keep pushing that trade. We need more than a few hours of, this is just over an hour now. You need more than an hour of price to make a decision, right? Only if it's specifically the plan was to get in and out of that trade, which, again, we have trades that are like that. We have trades that are like that. We do that every now and then. We do that. The rest, we keep pushing, and oh god, this is just disgusting, guys. Can you... Hey, who keeps placing that order? Hey, guys, that open order for the same amount every single day. Can you stop it? This order? Who keeps placing this order? Huh? What is that? It's the same order every day. For months. For months. Same order. What is this? The hell is this? Imagine this was over a month ago now. Remember when we were looking at this chart? Yep, every day at open, same order goes in. Huh. Only. You know when I'm going to stop being in this position? When that stops. That's when. Why? Because, again, you didn't have to do anything. You didn't do anything. There's nothing special. Did nothing special. But guess what? You could have squeezed a few 1,000% out of this fucking trade. Stupid. Stupid, right? Literally stupid. It's honestly, it shouldn't be a thing. It honestly shouldn't be. Shouldn't be. You shouldn't be able to put a trade from here into where Friday was on Friday. Price was on Friday and make that much. Shouldn't be able to. Now, not on a lot of money, no. Not on many contracts, no. But there are contracts out there that were the contracts to buy at that moment. Takes one trade, guys. A lot of these trades we've looked at, again, it's important lessons to learn, and it's important not just to see that, okay, there's money to be made there, but it's to understand also for when you're in that position. A lot of times what you'll do is you'll end up getting out of the position quickly. Some of you will get like 500% on a contract and sell immediately because you're like, holy shit, I'm up 500%. I got to get the fuck out of here. The point is that we have to follow our rules, and we can't change the narrative just because the amount of money involved or the percent involved, right? There needs to be a specific reason in price, or it needs to be specific to yourself that, okay, I'm going to fuck this trade up. That's fine. But a lot of the time, you need to learn and grow from there, of course. A lot of you, what you'll do is you'll get a big gain and you take the profit because you're like, which again is fine, but I want you to grow from there. There's contracts that, again, on Friday, you could have sold for 2,000% plus. There's some contracts out there that people bought on this Friday, that March 5th date that we bought everything, that bought here, that we're selling for over 4,500%, 4,500% on normal at-the-money contracts from this Friday. That they didn't do anything. They just bought the contracts that were at the money, held them. They held them. That's it. It wasn't diamond hands memes. It wasn't anything ridiculous. No, this is a trending chart. It's so important to be able to learn from that and not to have the diamond hands meme or the I'm up 1,000%, I need to get the fuck out. Yes, that's a great profit. Take it. Take it. But grow and learn from there and know that there's what's possible. You know what's possible? You get a chart that's been trending, we've been buying for months and months, that you can squeeze out of this time alone. A lot of you will be like, well, then, this is trending and not moving that much. It's continuing to go up, but it's probably not that much percent. You learned a lot probably from this past week that actually on a trend chart, you can make thousands of percent on options, which is fucking stupid, right? It's just stupid. And it shouldn't be a thing, right? But it is. It's a possibility. So that's why I always talk about when you get these charts that continue to trend and go up and up, You can't be scared to go make that trade, and you can't get yourself out of that position immediately just because you made a big gain to yourself. Like, it means a lot to you. You got to remove that connection, right? Or you got to realize it's not about you. It's the price is not moving because of you. These kind of things. I just mean in the sense that your decision should not be because of yourself. Like, oh, I could really use that money, or oh, I need to make money back. This kind of shit. No, you make the trade for the trade, and when the trade's done, it's done. If you didn't take profit on Friday and you push that trade, guess what? You just put another few 100% on your trade. That's disgusting. You should never be able to have a 2,000% trade and now make it 2,500. That's disgusting. Disgusting. Now, I did not do that on the 2,000% average ones, right? No, absolutely not. But the point still stands. You can always get back in that trade. You should, again, yeah, it won't be the same percent, but you can still gain that percent on a new contract, can't you? Can you not re-enter? Some of you have been looking at this chart for months and never touched it. That's bad. You got to learn from that, right? You get out, get in, right? It's okay to do both. It's okay to do both. I always talk about it. You need to take it home to the bank account. Yeah, that's one part of it. The other part is to keep fucking trading. You don't just stop. What do you fucking mind over matter now, and you get to just trade for a year and then you're done? You make $1 million and you're done? What are you gonna do when you spend all that money? Right? Goes quick. For some of you, I mean $1,000. Some of you make $1,000 and you're like, oh, I'm done. Training career is over. Made 10 grand. Woo! Made a lot of money. I'm done. Then you come back and you're all fucked up. You haven't traded in a while. We all have different ways of dealing with the percents, with the dollar amount. It's all, again, it's all relative, and it's all a learning process. And, some of you, you're going to go from hundreds to thousands to tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands to millions. Maybe some of us will go to tens of millions. Who knows? Maybe we'll go back to zero. But it can't be about it's got to remove the money part, that's for sure. Small cap value keeps going. And maybe this kind of Monday puts pressure on. Maybe we should talk about this. Maybe some of you in this play and this Monday's putting pressure on you or something, right? Got a lot of money on this trade. A lot of one half of my brain is telling me just to take the profit, dude. That's a lot of money. It was already unexpected for a lot of this to happen, right? Just take it home right now. Take it now. What do you need another 20% for? What do you need another 20% for? Another 50% for? Another 100% for? Right? A lot of you do that. You go, I mean, what do I need another 100% for on top of, I already got 500%, right? That little fucking demon left brain. Or is it the right? Can't remember. The way I do it is I just don't think about money. Don't care about the money. I just want to be right. Just want to be right. And if I'm going to be wrong, then I make sure I get out, right? Because this play could turn into, there's a possibility that it starts to take profit and it's going to consolidate the move. Absolutely. And I'm not going to be wrong either. So then I'll get out because I don't want to be wrong. So I turn it into like there's different ways to do it. The way I've done it is I've turned it from caring about the money to caring about what it is what I'm doing in terms of like a strategy and whether I'm going to be right or wrong. I've got you guys here. I've got other people that I know, and I talk about these. I talk about it every day. I don't want to be fucking wrong. That would destroy me, right? That's a way to turn it from money and making decisions based on money and what it would do for your life, and it just turns it into just an idea. It's just a fucking idea now. And so then I can make good decisions, and I don't go, "Oh shit, I'm actually losing. I just lost 100 grand." There's some times when you're like, "Holy fuck, I just lost 100 grand," but that was just on paper, and it wasn't even. It was just a timing. If I just give it a day, then again, these things. There's different ways to look at it. Holy shit, I just lost 10 grand, but it's on the 100 grand I've already made, so it's like, okay, 10% of the 100%. There's different ways to look at it, right? All of them, none of them are good. Money's money. Which one of you fucking Spoon posted like a $700 burger? I would never pay more than $20 for a fucking burger. Doesn't matter how much money you have. Am I fucking stupid? I'm gonna spend more than $700 on a burger? I won't spend more than 20. What the hell is it? Right? I'll buy a steak. I'm gonna eat a burger for. Fucking, I'll eat a McDonald's burger. Again, these like things like money still matters in like a lot of different ways, and you need to use it to be like common sense. Like, what am I going to spend that much money for something that stupid? Right? What is that going to bring me that much more enjoyment? No. So again, the money thing still matters, right? I'll still take the fucking subway in New York. Yeah, I Uber everywhere. It's COVID. Still take the subway every now and then. Back, before COVID, I'll take it again. Who do I care? I'm gonna save $20 on an Uber. Yeah, I've jumped the subway turnstile before. Yeah, I jumped it before. We're gonna spend $2.75 to Cuomo for. Fuck that guy. Fucking Italian hands, my friend. I don't think so. So get out of here. Exactly. That's the difference. You know the difference between Democrats and Republicans? Republicans will defend storming the Capitol and that it's okay. You know what Democrats do? They say, fuck Cuomo. Just a few months ago, they were praising Cuomo. Now we're saying, fuck him. Exactly. Get him out. That's the difference. We actually are critical of people. Yeah, I mean, I thought he did a great job at the start of COVID. Thought he did a great job. Now, I'm like, fuck that. Get this guy out of here. Doesn't take that, you don't need that many people to. If that many people come forward, yeah. Hey man, don't get all political on it. I'm here for the trading. Yeah, I'm here for the trading. Why do you gotta get all political? Get the fuck out of here then. Weak. Fucking weak. That's right. Pretty progressive, boys. Are we going to get more momentum during lunch on travel? Shaping up to get some more points. I think there's a lot of different ways to look at this. If we look at the benchmarks, right? The two sectors that have done what has performed the best so far this year. Number one, energy. Number two, banks. Even with today being down. If these points start to come back here, melting during lunch, right? Again, you obviously need healthy price movement on this. Again, this trend up has been going for this year, you have different days that price pulls back, and we're getting into we again are getting into that retracement area. The trade really becomes something else. The trade is really something else once it gets back up into here. And that's again where the momentum idea really matters, because if you don't turn into momentum, then you're nothing. Then it's nothing, and then it's over. Then you could say, okay, when is this done? Well, when it gets back into its supply and doesn't become a momentum trade, right? Now, we've seen momentum really get going, for sure, right? For sure. So that's what we're looking for. What have I talked about? What you need to see is a constant movement. Even lunch matters, where you can't just go, oh, it's lunch, it'll pull back. It's no big deal. No, that's a loss of time. I talk about that tempo loss. Keeping tempo is really important for momentum trades, because losing a percent or two during lunch, you got to gain that back. And that's a level of, again, demand that's going to overcome supply. That loss of time, it can really mean a lot. It can really mean a lot. And so that's what we've been really looking at. And I've been really critical about every single moment of time that you lose, because, again, not even just for this whole gamma squeeze that things happening for March, and those things will add up every day. It's, again, just momentum trades. They're fucking one way. There is no different. They only go one way. They're directional trades for every day. If every day is not hitting towards to that direction and trending towards that direction, then it's not momentum. And again, trading a trend is great, but there is a difference. Again, you can see the difference between where these charts are now and how things like Viacom and Discovery have changed, right? They've really became momentum trades, and they will stop. They will stop at some point, sure. But we squeeze every cent we can out of them. And we understand that these, so again, here's where value is right now, right? Value is right in here. The idea is to turn this into momentum like this. And that's what we're doing. And that's where the market's making, it's not just that people are making their minds up or anything. It's that it's like a veil being uncovered. People are coming into the notion that this could happen. We know it's possible. It just, again, it's, it's so funny is we've been trading at all-time highs for over a year now, right? Since last year, in a few months we were trading at all-time highs on the NASDAQ, right? S&P, and then finally came the Dow and then the Russell 2000, right? But it feels like there's so much fear all the time. For it to be at all-time high, there's so much fear of every single red candle, of every single time the move goes down, even though we're trading at all-time highs and putting on record numbers every single week. There's so much fear, and there's so much this understanding of risk that something bad could happen. You guys feel it. You do it every week, that something bad could happen. That's not how all-time high trading works. And so again, there's this level of anxiety out there that's going to keep us from overheating in the equity market, which is a really important thing to understand. And that's why we can keep buying on these pullbacks, because we understand that it's an overreaction to something that could be really bad. But why are we pushing through all-time highs then? What's the point of all this if every single red candle could possibly be the popping of a bubble or a crash? It's anxiety that's not realized though. It's just fucking, I don't know. It's just there. It's a feeling that the whole market has. But again, we just keep pushing through all-time high. And so we're going to keep taking advantage of this and understanding that we need to take advantage of that move. We need momentum, because that's what we do every single time. It's what we do every single time. And that's where the money's to be made. The money's to be made in that feeling that we always have, that, okay, this could be it. None of you felt like this on that last Friday, did you? You felt like shit over here, though, didn't you? And you felt like shit over here and here and here, and you felt like shit over here on that November 9th day and no fucking clue what was going on. September, you were fucking gouging your eyes out, roping. Again, it always feels like that, right? It always feels like that. And that's where you need to take advantage of it. And again, we're pushing it all-time high, but guess what? We're pushing into all-time high with fear right now. You're gonna start to get headlines again. Like we get the rotation into value, but guess what? That's gonna start to turn into, we've got a value bubble, and it looks like the Fed might change interest rates in a couple of years, and no, now we have overheating. Oh yeah, now the new one is overheating is bad, right? The economy's people are going back to work. Normal people get to work again. People aren't dying as much. Oh God, that's bad, right? Again, these things just keep happening. It's not like this. It wasn't like this before COVID. We weren't going, oh wow, all-time highs, so much risk. It's so scary up here. No, we just kept fucking trending up for years and years. The only thing that was scary was whether Trump was gonna fucking go to North Korea, put tariffs on somebody, maybe make a bad tweet. That was it, right? Now we're just in constant fear, which is a good way to keep everyone on their toes and to pump up IVs and give us the points, but you have to take advantage of it, right? You get into all-time high, you just keep pushing it. Yeah, a lot of people scared, but they're the ones paying you. They are the ones paying you. I mean, again, you want all of the indices climbing together. You're only as strong as your weakest link, so eventually this will pull you down or this will push back up, catch back up, go to all-time high. But again, growth hasn't been very good even last year. It really has not been the greatest since September. This move through here, there wasn't really many points to pick up in here because again the mega caps were really sort of consolidating through all of November, December. So this is all intermediary tech. This was all just that sort of those companies that are you don't really when you think of tech and Nasdaq, you think of the FANG stocks, right? You don't think of these silly companies that were actually pushing the average up, right? Because again, you look at the FANG stocks, they're garbage, right? Besides this move in here, which again is really what made up a lot of it. But you go look at Amazon and shit, right? Just been bouncing back and forth. It should catch up. You can always ask yourself, is it going to be up in a month? Almost always, it's going to be up in a month, sure. But this move over here has been pretty bearish, right? In the sense that it's not moving as quickly as the rest. We'll see. Let's see. We got rejected right on the 54.5 on WBA. Right on the nose. Right on the nose. Again, every loss of time matters. Summary going, oh, Jesus Christ. Again, it always feels that way. Oh, could go to zero, couldn't it? That guy could sell all of it, couldn't he? No, you can go up there and see. Keeping it just over a few hundred. Keeping the asks just over a few hundred more than the bids. Keeping it nominal. TCS, we broke the trend line Now the question is, we got to climb the trend line or put on the show, or when you break out, you get these big violent moves. Again, I've been talking about this. When I took this trade over here, I talked about it a lot. Where over here, we were stuck in the supply, not much movement. Took this opportunity to buy on the pullback because again, that's the kind of average that you can push through anything. Instead, we pushed through this entire trend here, pushed through all the supply this time, probably because of this move. It's actually allowed for the move to happen. Otherwise, you're stuck in the supply. I'm not going to buy, for TCS here, the problem was that all the supply and there's no movement. I'm not going to be buying in here. There's just, you can try to time it, but again, you can just come back and forth. This down here, this average is a no-brainer, and it allows for you to push through. So if you bought down here and then price did something like this where it stayed within the zone for a little while, you could just keep pushing it and eventually try to capture that upside move. This almost allowed for everyone just to buy and put the move on anyway. So it's funny when these sort of things happen. Again, sometimes the move towards the downside is actually positive and bullish. Sometimes that's exactly what allows for a price move to happen. And that's why I talk a lot about healthy price movement. A lot of the times that pullback allows for the next move to happen. And it's so important to take advantage of that. And again, all of last week, just look at all of travel. I not even, some of you are like, can we stop looking at these charts? Probably. But the point is here, again, these pullbacks allow you to buy not only at a cheaper price, but they're actually the reason why the move happens in the first place. Otherwise, you're stuck in the supply. This allows for momentum, for things to get moving, right? If you don't have that, then what? You probably trade within here. You continue. Did anything fundamentally fucking change from this point to here? No. Everything's been the exact same. Did more flights happen? More death boats? What about the cruise lines? You got better outlook, better revenue in here? Where is it? No. There's a fucking discount over here. A little cheaper. Get some movement. You got all the people that would sell anywhere. They're all out now. See ya. They're probably buying up here, right? It's all that technical mumbo jumbo that you don't like of supply and demand. If you don't come all the way down here, you're not moving very quickly. It's just not good price movement. No one wants to buy something that's not moving. If the movement is even to the downside, that allows for movement to the upside. It's just, again, seeing this, you got to know when and where, of course. If this was a different chart, maybe you didn't have this bullish move beforehand, you can't make that decision, right? If this wasn't here, then yes, you're not taking that trade. Of course not. But since the move is there, the trend is there, the rotation is there, you take that trade every time. You don't ask questions. You don't go, well, it could go down tomorrow. Yeah, it could. You could get hit by a fucking car tomorrow. Right now. You could literally die right now. Are you going to just stop living because of that? No. Does price just stop because of where it is? No. You gotta make those trades, right? All right, let's see what happens up here. Again, we have a lot of trades like this AMRX chart. Again, the biopharmaceutical, that healthcare sector, those short-term trades that I talked about for this week. We have a lot of charts that are like this. That again, this is a part of this week is we're taking advantage of these because of again the gamma squeeze that's happening into the March monthlies. But a lot of these don't care about. A lot of these are getting moves because of the idea, but not because of what's actually happening. Like I don't think that there's again, if there's not market makers on a fucking chart, then there is no gamma squeeze, right? It's only the charts that actually market makers are trying to provide liquidity for, right? That the ones that are writing all the calls are market makers, right? That's who's providing the liquidity. They're not on all these charts, right? They're not on all the charts. So again, it's those sort of bio plays and shit like that they're gonna look like it, but that's not what it is, right? And these are the charts that we can we can provide context through trend lines and support and resistance levels, horizontal levels, with pretty good precision because these are the charts that are being just traded by people. They're just people trading them, and so we can map out the way they trade a lot better than algorithms and again gamma squeezes that do not follow rules. They're not following psychological levels or anything. They're just on their own. They're just trading based on supply and demand of contracts, which are really hard to follow real time, right? It's very hard to be like, okay, there's another 10,000 contracts. Uh, this is how much it's going to squeeze it. Again, these are the questions we're trying to answer, things I'm trying to figure out that nobody fucking knows. Nobody knows. Again, we know the math, but we don't know the exact situations that these things change because again, you've got all kinds of different things involved that you don't get to map out. But when it comes to trend lines and everything else, we can do it with people. We can do it with people and understand it. And again, like you get perfect wick touches into trend lines from months ago, and these trades are these are the ones that again in a moment like this, in a moment where everything is gamma squeeze related, where all we know is things are getting squeezed. That's when we can take advantage of trades that okay, I know what you're doing at least. If I know what you're doing, then I can trade accordingly. If I know what you're going to do in a few days from now, if price is somewhere, then I can plan and I can make a trade, right? It's the times when we just, well, fuck, man, could get squeezed to 500, 600. I have no clue, right? Those are the trades that, yeah, we know that's happening. We're trade accordingly, but you don't have as good accuracy or precision. It's these kind of trades that I can be precise on, make the real money on, right? That's where the money's made. Understand when, when I talk about pushing that risk to its absolute end, right to the edge. You push your risk right to the edge, right where it's close to blowing up and close to maxing out percent. It's that very fine point that you're trying to find on every trade. How much further can I push it? How much more money can I put on the trade? These things you want to put it right to the edge every time because if you let up, just too much, you're not making enough. And if you put too much, then you have a risk of losing a lot more, right? You can go from winning to losing really quick. It's that point that you're trying to look for, right? That's what separates all of us. Rad broke through the trend line. Rad broke through the trend line. Next trend line is going to matter. 15th. Next trend line comes in at 34, which would put Friday at 36. Those are going to matter. And some of you are going, well, that's like 30% from here, Don. So obviously it's not going to matter. Okay. Whatever you say. Whatever you say. Don't worry about it then. Don't worry about it. All right. Who wants some WBA contracts? Come get them. Come get them. Come on. I'll give them to you for $4. $4. I get other ones too. What do you want? You want some? What do you want? I got 50s. You want to come over to April? You want some? I mean, this April's barely moving, so you know. I mean, there's a lot of buyers. You don't need to come to April. There's a lot of buyers on the Aprils. Not enough sellers. There's a lot of market makers too. A lot of fucking market makers. I'm just kidding. $4? You're out of your mind. $4? Are you kidding? You ain't getting shit. I'll research. Nvidia is through that level. Wait, why are these all covering each other up? What the heck? It's not working. Strange. No overlapping labels. Weird. Never seen it do that before. Usually they won't overlap. It'll just the lines will be where they are and the prices will be on either side. Strange. Cars continues. This Chris trade is again, I mean, I know I'm saying this week we'll do bios. Obviously, we started some of these last week and whatever. It doesn't need to be fine. It's not finite or something. But again, the Chris trade's a lot of fun. One of the newer trades, right? Which we've been dicking around with for some time. I do have some updated levels on some of these charts, but I don't want to post all the charts. I'll let these ones get through, and then by that time, I'll probably have something new anyway. So, like, I have a new Chris chart I was going to post with a new continuation wedge from over here. So I was going to draw this trend line and make an argument for this, and down here. But I mean, it bumps it up to like 16, 17. I'm not going to do that right now, but just to give you sort of an idea through here, there is this trend. There's a trend line through here, and you can do the exact same argument as this uptrend. So there are charts like that. I have some. There's charts like 10. See, I'm not going to post a chart like this either. So 10 has an upside breakout, for instance, and I'm not gonna go put some. Let's let this play out first. But again, there's some charts out there that. There's charts out there, but we're already a part of them. So again, don't forget about the charts from like a month ago or something like that. They all matter. They're all a lot of them are just continuations, and we're continuing the play. But I know a lot of the times we try to look for like the new best thing, and I mean these trades are the ones that matter, right? There's some obvious trades that matter more. So. CCJ trendline comes in at, what would I say, 1885. McKeeson says AMC's looking cute. Are you saying is in maybe now it's cute enough for you to buy it? I've been in. Okay, just making sure. Hey, now's a good time to go buy this over here. I mean, someone's buying it. The best part is that someone's buying it right now. Gamma squeeze. So those of you that are in, where are you selling? Where does it stop? Where's it gonna go? When are you guys gonna get out? You're gonna get out at $20. What if it doesn't get to $20? How are you gonna get out? When and where? What's the plan? What's everyone's plan? When price reverses, when does it reverse? When it goes down 10%, 20%? What's the number? Where does price reverse? If it was right now, where would it reverse? What would be the price you'd get out? If it just started turning right now, what would be the point that you sell? You're gonna get stopped out? Does everyone in here know? Everyone in here should have an answer to all these questions for every single one of your positions. You shouldn't even have to think. You guys ask me about any trade, I'll tell you right off the spot right now. That doesn't mean start spamming tickers into chat, but you should know, or all of you should know on the top of your head where, when, what would happen, how you'd get out of a trade. And if you don't know and it's a question, then that means you should probably just get out right now. Some of you that don't have an answer to, let's say you entered AMC over here on Friday open, or maybe you entered over here if you don't have an answer to when you should get out of this trade based on like what price movement, like what would be the reversal, then you should just get out of it right now. Don't go, well, it could go higher. Well, it could go lower. It could go sideways. It could just stop trading. So again, all of you, it's all relative to yourselves. If some of you, depending on where you entered on any of these trades, especially the squeeze trades, that no one has any clue. If you have no plan, you should just exit right this moment. I think I'm kidding, but I'm not. It's all relative, right? Reversals are relative to your position. No one has the answer to how much things can get squeezed. That's the reality. Why? Because there's people that have control, people that are holding things by the balls, right? If I just start selling all the WBA contracts, what's going to happen to price? It probably goes down. But it doesn't mean we actually don't. What would happen? If, like, it goes down and then everyone buys it and it goes back up. Like, there's these things are not. We don't really get to answer these questions. It just needs to be. You just have to have a plan and execute it, and that's it. There is no such thing as like, well, I could have done that better. Could you have though? Because there's a lot of situations where it's like, okay, yeah, but how would you have bought at the absolute low and sold at the absolute high? You can't. It's got to be some sort of average between the high and the low, where you're just trying to get it to risk or reward, and it's relative to yourself, right? It could be a different. The money could make the whole difference. You could have $1,000 position, and I could have a $10,000 position, and we have completely different areas in which we need to get in and out of that trade. And so then an institution that's got $1 million or $1 billion on a trade has a completely different decision to make as well. So again, that's why it's so hard to, come up with these answers. Excuse me. Couldn't hit the mute button in time. The thing to remember, though, folks, we're at all-time high. All-time highs. Just going to keep going. You could just, again, there's not much going on today. Like, there's some positions that we had to take profit on. Take some profit. They're really obvious, though. Like, everything is pretty obvious. Stay in your lane. Should we just go take profit on everything and just go buy Tesla right now? How about Facebook? Should we just say fuck it and go buy Facebook? You want to just do it? Huh? Let's just say, you know what? Fuck the Dow. These silly little value plays. Let's go play something real, like Facebook. How about some Apple? Apple's probably going to get squeezed out of its mind this week. Am I going to go trade it? No, because I have no clue what it's going to do. I have no clue. Neither does anyone else, and that's why it's barely moving. Trick question. All right, Nike through 143. Again, retail stores. I mean, they're all just trending to the upside. They have a lot more. Again, some of these are not. They're not moving by like a metric that would make them need to stop. Like it'd be too hot. Something like this. It's moving like 2% a day on an average. That you can keep going. Now, again, this has been rejected up here before, but if you look at retail stores as a whole, they don't have really full momentum yet. Some of them can really put some more on. If you look at it just through the average, like if we use XRT as an example, I know it's getting a little bit affected by some of the some meme stocks, but this is the breakout, but you don't really have momentum yet. You've you start a breakout and then it turns to momentum. It's not like immediate immediately thereafter. No, the breakout happened because of a technical break, and now we're looking for momentum. So we're actually looking for more beyond here. We're looking for more momentum. A lot of these charts, when you look at the individual charts, they have a lot of room to put momentum on, as in there's no supply. There is no supply on a lot of those charts. So when you look at some of these, I mean, it's kind of open season over here, right? I just told you GPS earlier was going to go to the trend line. Take a look at it. Yeah, it's going to go to the trend line. Like a lot of you, you keep looking at these charts. Some of you are looking at it just like this. This is how some of you look at it. And it's why I've kept all the lines off the Viacom and Discovery chart to show you. Because when you look at a chart like this, you're like, oh, well, yeah, there's nothing here. Because you're not seeing anything. I know you guys do this because you just don't have the vision there for it yet. And you're just looking at something and it's just an open space and you've got no clue if it's going up, sideways, down, up, rolling around in circles. You've got no fucking clue, which is okay. And I'm not making fun of anyone. What I'm saying is that we all have this. You need to have some sort of vision, and through that vision, you can have a plan, and through the plan, you can execute something, and then your right and wrong is based on the plan and what you've already sort of what you've already come up with. And there is nothing like you're not getting shit thrown at you and you don't know. If you look at it through this lens and you say, okay, I'm going to trade quickly between these two trend lines. Okay, and now it makes more sense. Now, obviously, you need the right trend lines. You need the right levels. Well, good thing you're in the right place. But the point is, some of you still, you're not executing that, even though it's there, because you just don't know. You don't know it's possible. It's at that point of not knowing. If you're in a trade, and you don't know, that's when I usually tell you to just take profit. You don't have a plan, then you don't have a plan. But that's where you can use the information I'm providing for you to. You don't need to so much know to take a trade. Entering a trade, you don't need to know what comes next. You don't need to know, and why? Because none of us fucking know. But we have a plan, and that's it. And if the plan goes according to plan, then you're going to get what you wanted. If it doesn't, then guess what? You just get out of the trade, and it's okay. Again, it's not so much that I'm like, oh, this is for sure going to happen. But doesn't it feel like sometimes it does happen more than not, right? That's because, again, it's not just one person. It's the whole market. I'm not telling you what I think. I'm telling you what price is doing. That's all that's happening, right? I don't come in here and go, oh, here's what my fucking story is. I want you to listen to me, and here's what's going to happen because I think so. No, I'm just looking at price and basically summarizing and analyzing price. Not doing anything. I'm not going, well, you know what? I looked at the numbers, and here's what I think is going to happen. I don't think shit. I react. Here's what price is saying. That's it. Every chart is here's what price is saying. Here's what the market thinks. You don't want to know my opinion. As soon as I start telling my opinion, you guys want to mute. Probably. A lot of times you're just like, hey man, listen, just give me the lines and shut the fuck up, okay? Besides like the fun stuff, right? Some of the like, get me going. Come on, give me some energy. The other times, again, it's not about an opinion. It's just this is what fucking price is doing. So remember, all you got to do is execute. You just got to make it. You got to just make a trade. Do it. Just do it. If it happens, then it happens. Great. Great. You took a trend line trade here. You took a support trade here, and it goes up. Great. If it doesn't, oh well. What are you gonna do? I think that, you know what I think? I think that there's probably some really bad news, and this red candle right here is probably, I bet there's some really bad news that came out, or good news. Who cares, right? It's what we like to see right here. Violent delights. Gamma boys. What did I say earlier about GME? I said that tightening was not a good sign for the upside. Why? Because you need constant movement. You need constant acceleration, or else you don't need to hold the underlying. What happens here? Market makers start selling the underlying, and as soon as the underlying starts going back up, again, this is a big percent move. This is 5% here in 5 minutes. That's acceleration to the upside. So now all of a sudden you got to go buy the underlying again. Again, this is what's gonna be. That's what this week's all about. Starting from last week, this is what this shit's all about. We're getting back into the. Again, we're getting back into the shit. Getting back into the shit like over here, right? Getting back into the shit. That tightening is going to lead to violent moves. That's what's going to happen. And that's where some of those charts this week, that tightening we usually look for, okay, this could be good for the upside because, you know, as soon as it breaks, then we can take a trade there. A lot of those we're going to be a little bit more hesitant on because the downside is just as likely as soon as the upside happens. You have no sense of direction with the squeeze, the gamma squeeze. The whole idea of the gamma squeeze that it goes both ways. There is no, it's not directional whatsoever. Because just as quickly as it goes up, that supply could get removed and then it can come down. So there's just, it's just, again, these trades, let's say you're in GME here, you entered like on a, I don't know, somewhere in here. You don't look at P&L. You just push that trade. It could be 400 in the next 10 minutes. Not because there's a whole bunch of memers buying. No. It's the math. The math. Which means again, you shouldn't do anything. You shouldn't go buy it right now, even if it goes up right now. You shouldn't, because you have no clue. That's the difference. Oh boy, oh boy. None of you made fun of my chart here. I thought maybe some of you would thought maybe I did this under the influence or something. None of you said anything about the CNNE chart. What is that? Picasso, there you go. Perfect. Yeah. That's a fucking Picasso right there. This can happen. I've talked about this before. You got to be a little abstract sometimes. This is a good example of being a little abstract, right? The trend lines don't really fit. They don't really fit. The trend lines are there, but the move within the trend lines doesn't really fit. So what do I mean? I mean, with the diamond, at the front of the diamond, you get higher highs and lower lows. And then on the tail end of the diamond, you get lower highs and higher lows, which is, again, just two converging trend lines on both sides. And so then, again, you have your price movement of low to high to the top of the diamond, from high to low to the bottom of the diamond, and then from the bottom of the diamond, low to high to low to high to low, to the move. Which, again, it's exactly where it's supposed to be. It's exactly how it's supposed to move. That's the price movement. And the trend lines are there, but they just don't fucking fit. They just don't fit. They don't fit how you normally see it. The trend line would usually be over here, and this would touch this point here. If you go ahead and extend this trend line, this should technically, when I show you a diamond, it goes from, so again, on a diamond bottom, both of the trend lines come exactly from the high point here. So the price move should go right to the apex of the top of the diamond, and then it comes down. Usually that comes all the way down to over here, right? And this trend line extends through there. So if you go ahead and extend this lower trend line, you'll see that it actually extends right through the point, and that price point goes right to the trend line, right? And that's how it's supposed to be. But again, this is a good example of a chart that just doesn't fit to that fucking norm. This price point is not within the diamond, which is okay. It's a little hard to see it. If you don't have anything there, yeah, it might be a little hard to see it, but I mean, it's pretty fucking obvious, isn't it? Higher highs, lower lows, higher lows, lower highs. Here's the breakout, obviously confirming. It's, again, sometimes you just got to open up. I mean, the downtrend's very obvious, but You just got to open up your mind a little bit. And the greatest thing about all this is that you don't even need to do it. Gave you the chart. You don't even need to do it. You don't need to go searching. Yeah, a little creative. Little creative. Little creative. But I thought it was funny. I figured someone would get a laugh out about that chart. Happens. And also TradingView, it snaps to the date. So you actually can't you can't just freeform draw. It has to go to an exact date. So it will keep going to the next day and it won't fill the space in between, which is half the problem. But anyway, that chart worked. That's good because it would have been really silly if the chart just kind of did nothing for like a couple weeks and then be like, well, obviously what you had there in mind did not was incorrect, which is fine. Open to criticism. But this time, gotcha. Okay, getting some take profits on travel. We get REITs continue to move, so that was a good example. REITs. Here you go. Here's some more REITs. Again, I know you guys don't like these charts that much, and it's okay. You don't need to trade the REITs as much, but it's just kind of hard to avoid some of them when there's so much value within them, right? Here's an example of a flag that might not be the greatest looking flag either. Does that remove the idea of what's happening here? No. And sometimes, symmetry is good, but sometimes it doesn't matter. Sometimes it doesn't matter. It's the movement that matters. And I think a lot of you, when you look at flags, when you guys point out flags to me, and I think it's usually Brian that says something, then I say something critique, and it seems like I'm being an asshole, but I'm just giving an answer. It's the movement that matters within it. And again, that's where it's that movement that allows you to then go capture another move. It's important to understand that, again, if something's not really moving, then without movement's not going to come thereafter. Unless it's specifically, there was a lot of movement and then it tightened. And so then during that tightening, you'd say, well, it's not moving during the tightening. Well, there actually is. It's just, its trades are being made quicker and quicker, and they're not holding for as long. It could still be a lot of movement, and so that would be a different scenario. But in these examples, there's a big difference between this here and it's not perfectly symmetrical. It doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be. But it's a movement in a consolidation that allows for a break to occur, and again, like this is not very good movement in here, right? Some nice movement leads to a breakout, right? It's the same every time. You just gotta be able to see it. Look at that! Look at that candle. Whew. Up 2%, by the way. So we're getting some pullbacks for lunch. Oh boy. Pullback, not the P word, not that P word or that P word, this P word. Ecto says, I was up 7% and now I'm only up 3%. Damn. Sounds really rough. The Cosa Nostra account is down $500 and it was up $2,000. What do you guys think about that? You guys from yes to no to probably back to yes really quick right now. I'm gonna take a screenshot because you might need to see it to make a decision. All right. Now you guys are gonna go yes, and then it's gonna go up another 2,000, and you go, oh shit, can we get back in? But maybe it just keeps going down. How do you know? Here's the Cosa Nostra account. Ooh boy, 2,000 to -5. Oof, tough, tough, tough out there. You guys' Aprils are break even. Damn. Damn. Yeah, let's see. Who? Brian and Ecto stayed. Who else is on there? What do I see? Reactions. What do we got? We got Brian, Ecto, and Chris. And then, oof. Maybe Spoon and Met were right. Should have said a stop. I don't know. We'll find out. Guess we'll find out, right? Let's go take a look at the CGC chart. Hasn't done anything at all today. It's up 1.5%, though. Just sitting here. Stuck under the supply. Stuck in supply. Like over here. You know, it's looking great, though. Oops. QWG. Up 5%. Yeah, let's get some take profit here. Okay. It's a big boy trade right here. Some of you are going, holy shit, I didn't realize that was 55%. Yeah, it is. Some of you are going, holy shit, that's 55%? Some of you are going, I bought on Friday and I'm only up 5%. Yeah, big difference, right? That's the difference. Yeah, that's from the pullback, that's over 50% on the underlying alone. Scary, right? Yeah. $25% on CGC from that Friday. Scary, right? That's all it took. No, it wasn't the exact low point that you could enter. And you couldn't fill that much. But we did it on everywhere, right? You're not always going to be able to make that trade. Nope, not going to happen. But we take it when we can. That's for sure. And then once you do it, then you can just tell everyone every single day. Feels great, doesn't it? Tell Greg, hey, Greg, wake up. Rad back down to the trend line, looking for that trend line bounce or breakdown. Bring it over to the average. What's going on in the Dow Jones? It's down 30 basis points. 30 basis points. Nice movement, though. Dow, you know what the Dow's problem is? No movement. No movement. This is some new movement. That's activity. Lots of activity. Small caps. All the activity in the world all the time. All right? Look at these moves. Look at this shit. This is 1% every 10 minutes. It's exactly what you want, right? It's exactly what you want. You're in these positions. Yeah, you don't want to watch it while your position's fucking going back and forth. But this will allow you to actually gain something, right? S&P bouncing on the trend line. Nice pullbacks. Nice movement. A lot of movement. This came into support as well. Again, tech is not, I mean, really nothing to see here yet until we get some sort of, I don't know. Some of these are just, the problem is that this shit's just consolidating. So again, there's not even anything that we can really gauge from mega caps right now, which is a little bit unfortunate during the timing here because it'd be nice to be able to use mega caps as a little bit of direction for for growth, but we don't really have it. It's just not there. And like then you get shit like Facebook that has like all the supply in the world in here. It's doing its own thing. Uh, Google's at all time high, dicking around up here, bouncing back and forth in the middle of fucking nowhere. Like these some of these charts are just there's no connection. I mean, who's even here? I don't know. Who knows? No clue. No idea. I mean, who's actually trading some of this stuff right now? Is like a better question. Who who is generating movement over here? What is going on? I have no answers. A big thing for right now, because there's not much to take away so far. A big thing though is that travel's holding its value, which is really strange. I would say that's strange. Like when I look, like even like some of the retail stores that continue, they're holding value right now. Now maybe it'll change during lunch, but I do find it a little strange. And I mean strange in the sense that okay, that's a little bit more bullish than you'd expect for some of these charts that gapped up and put a lot of points on early. They don't generally hang around up here. You don't just like hang out. We're kind of getting more and more demand, so some of these might continue to move here a little bit. Might get a little bit more. Might get a little bit more. GE's back down to 13. A good spot for it. Good spot for it. Right on the level. Up 3.25% today. Big move. Climb the ladder. Climb the ladder. You don't need to put it all in at once. So again, I'm going to say it like I say every week. For a lot of these trades, a lot of you need to make a decision based on yourself. If during lunch, you see that price is pulling back and it's going to be pulling back during lunch, maybe you even just think it might be possible. You know yourself better than the market does. Market's not going to wait for you. If you know, let's say at this moment you want to keep pushing your trade, right? You know your trade has more legs to it. It's going to keep going for the next week or two, or it has like a good probability to you want to push your trade. But if you know yourself, and then if price pulls back another percent or two, that you're probably going to get shaken out of that trade, then don't wait for that moment to happen. Don't watch price keep pulling back until it hits the point at which you're like, oh, now it's time for me to get out. When you're telling yourself that you're going to push the trade, right? Those of you that want to keep pushing trades, you know yourself and you know where you're like, okay, I need to get out of this trade and I can't hold this anymore. Just do it now. Just do it now. Don't play the game because you're going to be going, oh, you know what? I can keep holding. I'll keep holding. And then it keeps going down. You're like, you know what? I can keep holding. I get a little point of points. And you just keep doing the same thing. Like right now, let's say you're in short-term DIA. You're like, oh, nope. Oh, I'm getting some points. This is okay. Oh, I'm getting some points. This is fine. What if it comes down here again? What are you going to do when it comes down here? You're going to sell it this time? And then price, again, you can't just get out of it. And then if you want to get back in, you can get back in. Right? Now, that may not be the best overall decision, but for yourselves, again, there's times when you're just going to make mistakes based on some sort of inclination. Like, again, you could just let something just keep trending up and up. But there's times during that intraday that you're going to make a really dumb decision that, yeah, it might go up again the next day, but you exited at the lowest point. So it just doesn't, not good, right? If you can't just keep pushing something, then just get out earlier. Just get out earlier. Always the better decision. The sooner you make a decision, the sooner you can make another one. And the less money you'll lose. That's for sure. And a lot of the times, just don't look at the P&L. Just fucking let it go. Right? Is anything crashing? Is this crashing right now? Is the Dow play? Is the nightly news play over? Is it over? Because it's fucking red right now? No. I haven't even looked at it. I don't even have my account open. That's a lie, but I mean, I'm not even looking at it. Shit will ebb and flow. I'm in leveraged contracts on this shit. You know how much those are down? Let's go take a look at the UDOW. Look at this shit. It's down 1.5% right now. This is Armageddon over here. Look at this shit. You can't even tell. There's not even enough volume. Yeah, it's nightmare fuel over here. This is some scary movie shit where the car is right there and you could literally just leave the horror movie right now by getting into the car, but you decide to go run the opposite way and you say, "Oh, fuck the car. I'm going to go back inside the house." Get back in there. Don't take the vehicle. Don't get out of there. Get back in the, like, it's just silly, right? Silly. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Or yeah, you should be the fucking boogeyman, right? Because that's what people do. They're gonna come back in the house. They could take the vehicle, drive away. So either do that, right? For the analogy to work. If you're the one getting spooked, take the fucking car and leave the horror house. Leave the scary house alone. You're getting chased by the boogeyman? Take the car and leave immediately. Don't get back in the house, be scared, die, selling, and then do it again. Whatever the fuck it is. It's just, you can't, like, it's common sense usually, right? And you know yourself better. You know yourselves better. Like, let's say you're in GoPro here, right? You're in GoPro right now. You've been in this position since Friday Open. You watch this shit happen, and now you're sitting there, but you will quite literally sell at, like, now you're going, well, if it goes to 11.5, I'm gonna get out of here, even though this shit, like, already has happened. You have, like, some weird, you know what? If it goes to 11, I'll get out. Okay, like, so what does that mean? Like, if price comes up to 13, then comes down to 11, then you'll sell. Like, there's just bad decision making all around. It's like, well, I don't know what could happen. I want more. Take it. I like this price movement a lot, though. For small caps, it's great. Great price movement. Obviously showing bullishness, activity. I mean, it's almost impossible to read the Dow, so on intraday, it's all daily candle. So that's why I say I don't even fucking look at it. I don't make any decisions I don't day trade really to begin with. So intraday, it's like I'm just looking at it for you guys. I would never look at this chart intraday. I would only look at this on the daily. There's nothing. I would never make a decision based on intraday. It always would be daily on any of the value plays. Am I going to make a decision on energy based on the intraday here? No, daily. You know, short-term trades, took those off. Long-term trade, nope. I need some sort of daily mechanic. Some sort of daily technical break for me to make decisions on a chart like that. You know, like retail, like all of these retail sorts, these are all daily sort of, everything is based off of more time, not just like a short amount of period of time, not just some sort of decision being made in the moment. Which is, again, where the big difference comes, where sometimes, yeah, that spread between those two things is fucking big. And it may be a lot of money to you, but you're going to make a decision off of some 15-minute candle over the whole daily? No. A lot of times the answer is no. Yeah, that might mean the difference between 10% for you. Maybe. It might happen. Might honestly happen. Never going to be perfect. because the same thing will happen the other way. You'll think something's gone up too much, and then it'll go another 100% because you made a decision on an intraday instead of a daily, right? I'd rather be a little bit rougher around the edges to squeeze out a little bit more every single time, or not to make decisions based off of 10 minutes, but over an entire fucking day, right? You give yourself a little bit more time, you'll make better decisions. So will the market. Market can react really violently to something that happens, and then all of a sudden be like, oh, actually, we don't really give a shit about that. So whatever. Which is exactly why we try to avoid all those situations. Like, does any of the intraday movement here on travel take away from the fact that it's up 7.5% right now, AAL? Any of this selling from here? No, doesn't take away the fact. Even this overselling that happened here, did that take away from the whole trend? No, it didn't. I mean, maybe it could have. You know, maybe it could have. Did the selling here turn the bullish chart into a bearish chart? No, we actually took advantage of this moment. We get 42% in one day. We got 42% one day, took profit, and then over here knew that we were going to get back in, and we took the trade again. Took the trade again. Pulled back. Happened in a moment. This trade over here from the 22nd to the 23rd happened in a moment. From one day to the next. From one day to the next, and we take advantage of it. But it's not, you're not making decisions off of, or plans off of intraday charts. Yeah, you enter and exit based off of in that moment, and you're trying to, of course, in that moment, squeeze out a percent or two based on the intraday chart that you're using, but your decision and your planning is not based off of those intraday charts. And that's why I always find it funny when they'll post charts that are on like 15 minute or some shit, or like an hourly candle, and you're posting charts on that shit, putting levels on that. What are you doing? Like, what are you actually doing? It doesn't even make sense. People put like a SPY chart on like an hourly candle or some shit. Like, here's my 30-minute SPY chart. Like, what are you doing? Like, I don't understand. So you're telling me that all the levels during lunch matter? The like random price action that no one has any clue what's happening during lunch, other than the fact that people went on break, and so it's moving inaccurately. Those we're going to put those levels on the chart. Yeah, it's going to interact. These are daily levels. You start to create trend lines from intraday candles, you're going to have the most ridiculously looking levels everywhere, right? And people do that shit because they don't know. They don't know the difference. They got no clue. Just making shit up all the time. All right, here's my 5-minute candle. Here's my 5-minute trend line over the last day. The trend formed over the last day over these 5-minute candles. Like, okay, if you say so. Never seen that in my life, but I mean, I guess it's possible. Could be the start of a new trend. You never know. You have to use it in that moment, in that day, not the next day too, right? Like, yeah, I'll draw some trend lines intraday. Those things will matter, but that day, right? In that moment. Hey man, check out this cool 7-minute trend line I posted. Now pay me $40 for it. Now pay me $20 for it. $80. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be a lot of fun this week. I know today's a little bit chill, not much going on, but again, it's hard to. We just kind of got what was to be expected. The rest of the week, nothing is going to be expected. I don't have any expectations. I have no. I've got plans, and that's it. Things I think are going to be wild this week. I think this week's going to be wild. I think that I don't. think that anyone really knows what exactly goes on with the amount of options activity, other than that we're going to have a lot of activity. The big thing that's happened is that from all the last week we put a ton of points on. And usually when you have a big rally, you start to consolidate that rally. Well, what happens when you're squeezing through a consolidation? Shit gets a little wonky, like over here, right? We were doing it over here, where we were doing like a few percent one way to the other. All of this price action in here, that was again from all the squeezing that was going on. And so we already got we got a sneak peek, right? There's a bit of a trailer to what would happen this week, because that's exactly where we are. We've put a big move on, just like over here, we were putting a big move to the downside on. We sort of consolidate it. That's where we are over here, but now we're on the upside in all-time high. You know, quickly price moves through all-time high. That shit goes so quickly. You have no supply up here. What happens if this shit starts getting squeezed over here? There's no supply. The market makers, they have to buy the underlying. There's no one to fucking sell it to them besides themselves. So all of a sudden the math gets, and that's why I'm saying this week I think you're going to get some pretty wild swings. And you know, I talk about some of these trend lines, and you guys are like, that's like 30% from where price is right now. You're telling me that the price can move 30% to the trend line. How many times does that often happen? Right? It happens. And now all of a sudden, now you're putting a new exponential on based on what we know about the squeeze. So yeah, you need to be making short-term decisions, making some trades that are a little different, a little out there. You can't just keep trading the same way. Again, this shit, you cannot. This is so many points. It's so much money. This is we're talking about, like last week alone, we put like $1 trillion into the market. Like $1 trillion, literally, inflowed last week, and not just so much inflowed, but moved. Like the amount of money that moved was like $1 trillion last week. That's quite literally the number. Where was most of that money? It was on the derivative side. It was on the options side. It's so much betting. It's so much exposure to so many different things that could happen. And so, yeah, it usually evens out. Once the expiration happens, it evens out, because now all of a sudden the bets were going one way and the other, and now they're off, right? They're off. And so that's the whole point of the squeeze that happens before. You know, you bet on a big fight, right? You bet on McGregor to win, and then all of a sudden he gets knocked out, and that's it. It's over. The whole thing is over. But there was a lot of excitement in that very short amount of time, wasn't there? A lot of excitement during the fight. And so during the fight, there's all kinds of different things that are happening, right? Whatever, going back and forth. And then all of a sudden it's over. It's done till the next one, right? That's literally where we're at right now. We're in the middle of the fight, but look at, a lot of the move already happened. And so again, this is where shit gets a little tricky, because so much of the move has already happened, which was to be, this is sort of, if you had to tell me one thing about how a squeeze would happen, I would say that's fucking it right there. But guess what? You have a whole week now. You still have a week. And so that's where shit gets a little, what is all this then? And that's where my understanding of all this like goes kaput, because it's like, okay, I got this part planned for this part. What the fuck happens next? Again, you don't get to decide. You don't get to say this is the top here. You're in all-time highs. I would say this shit's gonna fucking explode up to here by Friday. That's what I would say. I would say that's the most likely. Now, in terms of traditional price movement, I would say you need to consolidate the move. Monday would be a take profit day. That's what we're getting so far, besides travel. Again, you look at travel, and like some of the shit's giving a hint. Retail stores are giving a hint, right? This shit's showing you exactly what I'm talking about right now, is that this move is going to keep getting squeezed, because there's nothing that can stop the momentum from happening. There's nothing you and I can both do. The fucking exposure's already there, and it goes until Friday. If it's on, the fight's on, right? The fight doesn't stop until the shit's over with. So again, the bets are still on, and the bets are going to keep growing. And what are you going to do? What's going to stop it? Like, who the fuck's getting in the way of this chart? Who cares? It's Macy's, right? Well, it's a retail store, and there's no one in the fucking way. Who's going to stop the price? Who's stopping these prices? Like, who's actually going to be in the way of these prices? The travel charts. Who's getting in the way of these charts? There's nobody here. So same with, like, it's such a meme. It's not a meme, but who's over here stopping the Dow Jones average from moving? Who is actually going, let me short this, let me stop this? There's nothing that could stop this shit until the bets are off. The exposure is still there. It doesn't go away. So even if there's a bit of a pullback, the exposure doesn't go away, right? It's going to be some violent moves. That's the best thing to bet on. And I talked about it last week. If that you're going to have a hard time making the directional trade, do a fucking straddle, because price is going to move, right? Price is going to move one way or the other. Put some straddles on. You may not make as much money. You could eventually you can do like what I do. I'm not very good at straddling, so I'll remove a leg as soon as I think there's a chance for the move to go one way or the other, which you should never do. You should never get a straddle and then go sell like one leg and be like, no, it's going to go this way now for sure. That as soon as you do that, it goes away from you. But then you're just being a directional trader, which is what we do. But you can just put straddles on, right? Be like, well, as long as it moves 5% one way or the other, then I'm going to be making a shit ton of money. That's fine. Do that, because what's going to happen? There's going to be some movement, guys. We're already seeing it. Look at the top of the list here, right? The top of the list, we get some silly numbers, as usual, right? Today's travel, maybe tomorrow is energy, maybe tomorrow's tech. All we know is that everything's going to move, right? That's what we know. Certainly got it. We're actively picking our positions, right? And we're talking about hundreds and hundreds of percent, right? We're talking about a lot of fucking money. And that's again the spooky part about this week, is that it's a lot of money moving behind the scenes. Again, the biggest problem with our market is that everything is based on the underlying, what we call the stock market, right? When that's not the fucking face of anything. I mean, it is the face. If we used like some sort of analogy that, okay, the underlying here is the face, then the options are literally the whole fucking head. This is just what you see, or like the cover of a book, right? The underlying is the book cover. The rest of the book is the fucking options. That's quite literally how it works. That's the reality. And some of you still only look at it as, some of you just look at this shit and you're like, oh yeah, this is fucking what it is right here. That's not at all the case, right? All of the money is on the other side of this that you're not seeing here. It's made up of hundreds of different contracts that then have hundreds of thousands of different trades on it. And they're active, right? They're active bets out there. And every day they grow. They don't go away. They don't just fucking vanish. Every single day they're building up. And that's why I said the March monthlies are the most ever. And we've been continuing to do it. Because why? Because over here, when they first started getting written, those were created. They've been being bought and sold every single day. And when they're sold, they don't go away. They're still fucking there. Someone owns it, right? So it just gets created out of thin fucking air. It's a contract made out of thin air. Quite literally, wealth creation at its finest. Making something that it doesn't even exist, in making it, and then someone bought it, right? Someone bought something that didn't fucking exist before. And then here it is being traded continuously, gaining value in some instances. But the point being is that they never go away. They just keep being made and made and made until you have hundreds of thousands of contracts out there that all give you the option to own. Every one contract to own 100 shares of something at a certain price. The more that are in the money and have intrinsic value, again, the more this shit gets squeezed. So again, let's say only 10 of them, 10 contracts, different strike prices are in the money. And then all of a sudden price starts moving. And now 15 are in the money. Now 20 are in the money. Now 50 are in the money. Now that's a whole fucking shit ton of options that actually have the option. That are actually options now. They have intrinsic value. That's 100 shares each that are worth something, in some cases worth an ass load, right? And it's built up over all this time, and it gets to a point where it just fucking explodes, right? It just explodes because there's so many more bets against this. How much is American Airlines is the largest airline? It's 16 billion. 16 billion. There's at least twice as much as that. At least twice as much as that in the options. More than that. It's way more than that. 16 billion is the cap, the value of the company. There's at least twice as much being bet on it at this moment. At least twice as much. I don't know what the actual number is. It's probably 3 times as much. There's probably three times that many billions being bet on one day. For one day. For March 19th. 3 times as much being bet on just that one fucking day. That's it. And it's being built up over all this time. And so what happens? Well, it gets to a point where that's so much exposure that it doesn't even fucking exist. Are you gonna, if all of those were, what if all of those options were, they fucking all of them actually that were in the money, all were converted to shares, right? What would happen? What would happen? There's not enough fucking shares out there, right? It doesn't fucking exist. And the point is that everyone knows that none of those are going to be, they're all just for premiums, right? That none of them are going to be exercised. But what if they were? What if every single one was exercised? Well, you'd need to have a proper amount of shares, wouldn't you? That's where the hedging comes in. You got to start to, the delta hedging starts to come in. If something has a delta of 1, which is 100 deltas, then that's, there you go. 100 shares at a certain point, which could be 1,000 shares. You gotta do that for each one, right? And so the price starts to get jacked up. But again, it's just all of that behind the scenes that's causing just, just boils up, right? Boils fucking up. Turns into craziness. Now the CGC position was minus 500. Now it's plus 1,200 right now. Why? Because it's literally what I'm talking about right now. It's like, okay, well, new round in the fight. I guess now we're worth something. We expire in 4 days, but I guess now we're worth something, right? We weren't worth something 4 minutes ago. Literally 5 minutes ago, we were worth 0. Now we're worth what? Now the contracts all of a sudden again are worth, let's see, we're up $1,000 on March monthlies. They were minus 500 a few minutes ago. What changed in the last few minutes? Nothing. Nothing fucking changed. The supply and demand equation, the fucking boat shifted one way or the other, right? Anyway, here I'm gonna take a screenshot for Cosa Nostra. Keep you guys updated. We will take a break for lunch. Again, for lunch, I think a good strategy will be to just play yourself, not play with yourself, you sickos. But don't try to... You've already beat the market if you're in position. You've already beat the market by being in a position. You have. Now you need to just don't lose to yourself. Don't let yourself sabotage. Right? How are you going to do that? I mean, it's really up to you. And I would just say, make trades based on yourself, and understand that every single thing you're doing right now is not about the money you're going to make today or about the money you'll make tomorrow. Every single thing you're doing right now is to learn. You're quite literally trying to put the pieces together still. You're, all of you, even myself, every single day, it's not about the money you're going to take home today. It's what you learn today to take home tomorrow and the day after that, right? That's it. That's it. There's nothing else. There literally can't be anything else. Anyway, let me, Jesus, let me do this again. I get a snippet of your goddamn position. There it is. Okay, I'll post this to the account. Doing well so far, folks. Doing well so far. Oh, now it's at 1,700. Take a... Here's where it's at. Where is it? There's... You have to go from one computer to the other. There's that. Now it's at 17. Oh, now it's at 1,800. Now it's at 1,800. It's moving through the supply really quickly. Here, I'm going to give you another screenshot because I think it's going to be like 4,000 in 2 seconds. That's a thick boy candle, says Matt. T-Trader says hodl. LSU just woke up. He says, are we still bulls in a China shop? Anyone see what the Chinese tickers did? Let's take a look. Where are they? They're looking decent, up 1%. I think JD's a little screwy over here. There you go. BDD down. Bob. Chinese. Ooh, look at that one. Nice, minus 2%. Too bad we didn't put any Chinese tickers on Friday, huh? All right, here, I'm going to give it a sec because I think, let me show you the CGC position. This is finally working to work through that supply. Let's see if I think it's going to get rejected here. It's just not a good time. Not a good time. Let's see. We'll take a break. Let's see if it works through it right now. If it does it right now, then it's certainly going to put a shit ton of points on. Because again, that's breaking through the supply at this moment is we're going into lunch. So this is a melt through, but it could turn into momentum. If it goes on the other side, it's just going to turn into momentum, right? And again, it has quite a bit of points to catch up. So again, it will move up to about 40.5 here in a short amount of time, which is about 14%. That would be like today. That would be today. Otherwise, it doesn't really make sense. It would be today. This would move today, or like by the open of tomorrow is what I should say. By open tomorrow. C Trader says Wells Fargo's holding us back, won't release stimulus. Oh, is that why Wells Fargo was trending on Twitter? Gotcha. All right. I don't really want to watch this right this second. I don't really care about the P&L here, so this is not like a today P&L. This is like by, or this second P&L. Because again, that shit's going to change so much. It went from minus 500 to 1500. My position itself is again, you can go from, my position's gone from like minus 4,000 to plus 10,000. It's all over the fucking place. Imagine making decisions based on P&L. You'd lose your fucking mind. Like, some of you have finally realized this, where it's so stupid to try to make decisions based off of your position, because it's not the fucking market, right? And so as soon as you start to do that, you'll be like, oh yeah, I'm down $5,000. Oh boy, I should get out of that, right? And then you're up 10 grand. You're like, maybe I should take this home. And then it goes to like, you have no fucking clue, right? As long as you're not losing value on the, like, again, you should always be stopped out at your break even point, your entry point. I think that's a good rule to follow. You'll have to re-enter it. Yep. But don't lose more than you put in, right? If it's off the top, then just let it go. Fucking, you could be up 100% one day, be down, lose 50% of that, be up another 20. Doesn't matter. Just fucking leave it. If it happens in 5 minutes, then it doesn't matter. So I will see you guys this afternoon. It's gonna be fun. This week's gonna be so much fun. I know we kind of had a boring morning. It's nothing to do with us, me, you, just the market. I mean, again, there's so many things that are fun. I think today is such a fun day. I mean, look at all the exciting things that happen with travel. This shit's insane. And look at retail stores and individual charts that we've been trading, and it's so much money, guys, right? And some of you are fucking still sleeping because who cares? But let's just be honest, this is a ass load of money that you just needed to make a trade. Some of you didn't make a trade, and so now you're hurting and you're like, I don't know what to do. It's okay. It's okay. Brian says, I need a trade. You want a trade right now? You guys want one trade to make right now? Go buy WBA calls, I'll sell them you. That's it, folks. I will see you guys. See, you're laughing right now. Wait until the price goes to 55 by the time we get back. When price goes to 55 when we get back. Where is it? Here it is. 12.5%. You guys are saying that. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it to get to 60 and then laugh. You guys said it down here. You guys said it was a fucking joke. Just keep increasing the ask. No, we're going to keep it at, I'm keeping that where it is for right now until we get back up here. Because again, I want to fake the supply. For those of you that don't want to do last comment before we go take a fucking break and drink some water and fix your posture. When you have a very clear supply right here, right? It's 54.5. Everyone can see it. Everyone knows it. You can see it in the contracts. What you try to do is you try to phony up the supply. So you try to make it like, no, there ain't no supply here. obviously there's me sitting on like a whole bunch of contracts, and I'm selling at certain points. So the best thing to do is just to fuck it all up. You just completely screw it all up. Act like there's no supply. You know what the answer was to that other question? To sell nothing. To sell nothing is the answer. Why? Because if you don't sell anything, the price will keep going up. Eventually, you're gonna have to sell it, sure, but you gotta put them in a little bit at a time. But the answer is to do nothing. That's the real answer. You just don't do anything. If you don't do anything, then guess what? There's no such thing as resistance if no one sells, right? There's no such thing as support if no one buys. Those levels don't mean fucking jack. So the next time this comes around, you know what's going to happen? I'm not going to fucking sell. That's what's going to happen. The next time we get up here, I'm not doing anything. I'm going to be buying. I'll be buying. I'll see you guys this afternoon. If you want some cheap WBA calls, you flash me some funny numbers or something, I'll sell them to you. I'll sell them to you. You think I'm kidding? But if I see like a bid at like $1, maybe I'll sell you $1. Go put some bids in at $1 for 50s or something. 169, yeah. If one of you do it, 69 cents a little cheap. 420. If you guys buy one 420, maybe I'll sell you a 69. You never know. You got to find out, right? Find out this afternoon. March 50s. Yeah. I own a few thousand contracts in there. I'll see you guys this afternoon. Again, be careful during lunch. Just be careful during lunch. Don't do anything stupid. Don't do anything stupid. And you'll be fine. The best thing to do is just watch nothing. Have a good one, guys.